Chapter 3664. That prodigy did not dare to stay any longer and quickly left. It was normal for many races to have enmity with each other. Who could guarantee that these races did not have their enemies here? After that prodigy left, someone else went up. At least they would not die. Many top monsters became much bolder. These people want to fuse with the taboo power? What a fool's dream. Even if the top 10 monsters of the great desolate 10,000 races come, they won't succeed. But those who can successfully fuse with it are all peerless geniuses. They have great luck, peerless talent, and are born extraordinary. These people are far too lacking. In the sea of consciousness, Gumo sneered. Sure enough, more top monsters went up. Although these top-notch geniuses could survive, none of them could succeed. In fact, none of them could last more than a minute. The strongest one only lasted for 50 seconds before retreating with serious injuries. There was even one who lasted for more than 10 seconds. Although he retreated, he died on the spot because of his serious injuries. There were at least 20 top-notch monstrous geniuses who went up, but none of them succeeded. These monsters were all seriously injured and left to find a place to recuperate. Everyone looked at each other. It seemed that they would not succeed. Would they have to wait a few decades for more monsters to come in before they could succeed? Let's go, Aoyen said. Now that the top monsters of the various races had been seriously injured, it was time for them to make a move. This was a good opportunity. If those top monsters were here, they would not be allowed to make a move so easily. Swoosh, swoosh. They flew forward. When they got close, they were immediately discovered. It's the dragon race. The remnants of the dragon race have appeared. And that Lu Ming. When many people looked at them, their eyes were filled with a fiery light. The dragon race Lu Ming. If they could capture either one, they would be heavily rewarded. If they could not fuse with that wisp of energy, they would not be able to become the son of heaven or daughter of heaven. However, if they could capture Lu Ming and the others, the rewards would be very tempting. Immediately, many people rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Remnants of the dragon race, surrender. Many people roared and directly attacked. Dazzling divine light burst out. However, not many people attacked Lu Ming. Many people had seen Lu Ming's combat strength before. Only top geniuses could compete with him. However, they had no idea how powerful Ao Guan and the others were. Courting death. Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the others roared angrily, reverting to their original forms and pouncing forward. The dragon claw stepped on the air, and a terrifying force exploded. Instantly, miserable screams rose and fell. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 young men were killed by Ao Guan and Ao Qing. Kill. At the same time, Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the other 4 8-clawed divine dragons also attacked. As soon as they made their moves, the situation became even more one-sided. A terrifying power burst forth as the geniuses of the various races were killed one after another. Without those top-notch geniuses, ordinary geniuses would be completely at the mercy of Lu Ming and the others. In just a short while, more than 100 sky prides of various races were killed. The others were scared out of their wits and frantically retreated. 9-clawed dragon, it's the 9-clawed dragon. Quickly retreat. Those people shouted in horror. For a moment, no one dared to step forward to attack Lu Ming and the others. Some races wanted to set up a battle formation to surround and kill Lu Ming and the others. However, someone stopped them. These remnants of the dragon race seem to want to fuse with that stream of energy. Then let them fuse with it. When they fail, they will definitely be severely injured. It won't be too late for us to attack then. That makes sense. The sky prides of various races discussed for a while before nodding and retreating, allowing Lu Ming and the others to approach the forbidden power. Lu Ming and the others were not afraid. With a few of them working together and the top-notch geniuses of various races retreating, the remaining people's combat strength was far inferior to theirs. Even if they set up a battle formation, they could still easily retreat. Moreover, Ao Yen could summon the giant fish in the lava to attack. Although the sky prides of various races had hunted a large number of giant fish during this period of time, the lava lake was very vast and deep. There were many giant fish and it was impossible to kill them all so easily. This was their confidence. You guys go first. Ao Yen first looked at the 4 8-clawed divine dragons. All right. The 4 8-clawed divine dragons nodded. Then one of the 8-clawed divine dragons wriggled up and headed towards the forbidden power. When it reached the lotus, it stretched out a dragon claw and grabbed the forbidden power. The forbidden power rushed into the 8-clawed divine dragon's body. The 8-clawed divine dragon's body suddenly trembled violently, but it was blocked. 1 second, 2 seconds, soon a minute passed. Yes, It had already been longer than the longest time the sky prides of various races had taken. It can't be. Could it be that the dragon race confused with it? Perhaps it's really possible. After all, this stream of energy belongs to the dragon race. The sky prides of various races felt their hearts sink. What should we do? Continue to observe the situation. Even if the dragon race fuses with it, they won't be able to escape. What the Heavenly Palace wants is not something they can get their hands on. Some of them secretly discussed. Soon 2 minutes passed. That 8-clawed divine dragon was still persevering. The longer they persevered, the greater the success rate. There were 2 reasons why the 8-clawed divine dragon could persevere for so long. The first was that they had absorbed too much of the aura related to the forbidden power in the pond and had developed a strong resistance. The second reason was that they were from the dragon race. Originally, the forbidden power did not have any attributes. However, after the dragon race obtained it and refined it for many years, it already had a trace of the dragon race's attributes. Therefore, the forbidden power would fluctuate and sometimes take the form of a dragon. This was advantageous to the dragon race. He definitely won't succeed, Guillermo said with certainty. Sure enough, after 3 minutes, the 8-clawed divine dragon could no longer endure it. He roared and retreated, and the forbidden power flew out of his body. The 8-clawed divine dragon coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. He was seriously injured. Heal your injuries first, Ao Yin said to the 8-clawed divine dragon. The 8-clawed divine dragon nodded, took out a few divine herbs, swallowed them, and began to heal his injuries. Next, another 8-clawed divine dragon went up to try, but he also failed. I won't go up. You guys go up. I won't go up either. The last 2 8-clawed divine dragons shook their heads. Their talent was similar to the previous 2 8-clawed divine dragons. They knew that it would be useless for them to go up. Moreover, the sky prides of various races were eyeing them covetously. It was better for them to preserve their full strength to deal with unexpected situations. Let me do it. Then Ao Guan stepped forward and came to the lotus. He grabbed the forbidden power with his dragon claws. The forbidden power entered Ao Guan's body and he began to fuse with it. Chapter 3665. The 9-clawed dragon's talent was unquestionable. It was a peak monster of the dragon race. It was much stronger than the 8-clawed divine dragon. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, soon 10 minutes had passed. Ao Guan was still persevering. This made the expressions of the various races' geniuses turn ugly. Their talent was far from the 9-clawed dragons. This was the talent of the top 10 races' geniuses. If the top 10 races' geniuses were so terrifying, then what about the legendary Heavenly Palace's geniuses? What about the Heavenly Palace's heavenly sons and daughters? Just how monstrous were they? Time quickly passed as everyone's thoughts ran wild. 20 minutes, 21 minutes, half an hour had passed. Yes, Ao Guan had persevered for half an hour. But this was his limit. His body began to tremble and layers of red light appeared on his body. There were even traces of blood seeping out. Ao Guan roared, extremely unwilling. He still hadn't given up. He clenched his teeth and persevered. But more and more blood seeped out of his body, and cracks even appeared on his body. Ao Guan, don't force yourself. Ao Yin transmitted her voice to Ao Guan. If this continued, Ao Guan would die. Ao Guan roared in the end and gave up. He retreated and the taboo energy also flew out. Ao Guan returned to Lu Ming's side, took out a divine medicine and swallowed it. It's too difficult. I feel like there's no hope of success. Ao Guan shook his head, extremely unwilling. Ao Qing, you go. Ao Yin looked at Ao Qing. However, Ao Qing shook his head. He glanced at the surroundings and said, Princess, you should go. His talent was about the same as Ao Guan's. If Ao Guan couldn't succeed, then he most likely wouldn't have a chance either. Moreover, Ao Guan was injured. He couldn't be injured again or it would be very dangerous. It was better to give this chance to Ao Yin. Ao Yin was the most talented among them. If even Ao Yin couldn't succeed, then they wouldn't have any hope either. Okay. Ao Yin nodded and flew toward the taboo energy. Soon the taboo energy entered her body. Time quickly passed. Ao Yin's talent was indeed above Ao Guan's. Half an hour quickly passed and Ao Yin was still enduring. Moreover, she didn't seem to be feeling. The expressions of the various geniuses changed. Should we make a move now? There's a 9-clawed dragon among the dragon race that's injured. Their fighting strength has been greatly reduced. Someone secretly said. No, now is not the time. That silver 9-clawed dragon is too strong. She's not injured yet. If we attack now, she'll definitely give up on fusing with that strand of chi and attack us. Let's continue waiting. It won't be too late to make a move when she's injured. Someone said. Good idea. Everyone continued to wait. Soon an hour had passed. Aoyan had actually endured for an hour. This was an astonishing achievement. One had to know that the longest time for the other prodigies was only 50 seconds. The difference was simply too great. However, at this moment Aoyan's silver body also started to tremble. It was as if she was enduring an enormous pressure. Another minute passed. Aoyan shouted as she quickly retreated outside. The taboo energy flew out from her body. Princess, why don't you continue to persevere? Ao Qing said. Aoyan clearly hadn't reached her limit yet. No need. I can already feel that I won't succeed. There's no point in persisting. Aoyan shook her head. At this moment, Aoyan wasn't seriously injured. If she continued, she would also be seriously injured, which would be very disadvantageous for them. Most importantly, he could feel that even if she continued to persevere, she wouldn't succeed. There was no hope. Even the princess can't succeed? Ao Qing sighed. If even the princess can't succeed, then who else can? Princess Aoyan was one of the top prodigies even during the dragon race's heyday. She was even ranked at the top. If even she couldn't succeed, who else could? She's not injured. The hearts of the prodigies sank when they saw that Aoyan wasn't injured. Aoyan's strength was too strong. Since she wasn't injured, they didn't dare to make a move. Some people secretly discussed and finally decided to wait for the top prodigies to recover from their injuries before making a move. Brother Lu, do you want to try? At this moment, Aoyan looked at Lu Ming. Since I'm here, I naturally have to give it a try. Lu Ming nodded, then stepped forward and walked towards the taboo energy. When he arrived above the lotus, he looked at the taboo energy above the lotus. It would sometimes turn into a transparent gas, and sometimes into a small dragon. Come. Lu Ming was looking forward to it. It was so difficult to fuse with it that even Aoyan had failed. He wanted to see it for himself. Lu Ming reached out and grasped the taboo power in his hand. Boom. Suddenly, the taboo energy burst out with a terrifying heat that covered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He circulated his divine power and his muscles bulged, blocking this energy. If it was an ordinary person, they would probably be turned to ashes by this energy. Of course, this was just the beginning. When Lu Ming blocked this energy, the taboo energy twisted and entered Lu Ming's palm. Once it entered Lu Ming's palm, the taboo energy immediately scattered. 1 turned into 2, 2 turned into 4, 4 turned into 8. In an instant, it turned into countless tiny streams of energy that scattered throughout Lu Ming's body, entering every cell. Then an incomparable pain erupted from Lu Ming's body. This pain was similar to when he fused with the taboo energy in the pond, but it was dozens of times stronger. Those with insufficient willpower would not be able to endure it. Divine power. Lu Ming barely managed to stay awake. He wanted to circulate his divine power to counteract this pain, but he discovered that he had already lost control of his divine power. His 11 divine powers seemed to be suppressed by a majestic power. They were firmly suppressed within the star core, unable to circulate. Even his origin secret techniques were unable to circulate. Could be said that nothing could circulate. The only thing Lu Ming could do now was persevere. Persevere. Lu Ming returned to his original state and persevered. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, very quickly half an hour passed. Lu Ming was still persevering. He can actually persevere for half an hour. Aoyan, Ao Qing and the others were shocked. Lu Ming was only a human, but he could persevere for half an hour. It had to be known that Ao Guan was a 9-clawed dragon, but he had only lasted half an hour. That kid. The various geniuses of the desolate universe were also tongue-tied. If it was said that the dragon race could persevere for so long, it would be reasonable. After all, the 9-clawed dragon's body was famous throughout the universe. Furthermore, this stream of energy also belonged to the dragon race. It was normal for a dragon to be able to persevere for so long. But Lu Ming was only a human. Chapter 3666. However, this was only the beginning of Lu Ming's shock. Half an hour was just the beginning. Then time passed minute by minute. Soon it was an hour. This was already equal to Aoyan's record. This, Aoyan, Ao Qing and the other prodigies were all dumbfounded. It was already a miracle that a human could last so long. However, the miracle continued. 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Soon Lu Ming had lasted for 3 hours. Damn it, this kid won't succeed, right? Impossible, he can't succeed. The prodigies of the various races were discussing, but most of them were envious and jealous. One had to know that once Lu Ming succeeded and joined the Heavenly Palace, he would be directly conferred the title of Emperor. It would be strange if these people were not envious and jealous. They all prayed that Lu Ming would not succeed. Can he succeed? Ao Yen and the others also widened their eyes. Contrary to the prodigies of the various races, they hoped that Lu Ming would succeed. Lu Ming had previously sworn that once he succeeded, he would become an enemy of the Heavenly Palace. Although Lu Ming was not a member of the dragon race, it was still better than someone of the other races fusing. This was because Ao Yen had already failed. Almost no one from the dragon race could succeed. If this continued, the Heavenly Palace would take it away sooner or later. Because if this continued, in a few years, even stronger prodigies would come in from the outside. If this continued, who knew if anyone would be able to fuse? Therefore they hoped that Lu Ming would fuse with them. However, after 3 hours Lu Ming had also reached his limit. His body began to tremble and blood seeped out of his skin. The continuous pain made his mind on the verge of collapse. Kid, hold on. If you have potential, you will burst out in a desperate situation. If not, I will help you retreat. Guo transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded silently and continued to grit his teeth and persevere. Wave after wave of pain was about to drown his mind. His will was like a taut string that was about to snap. Just as Lu Ming was about to give up, a powerful force suddenly burst out from the depths of his soul, from the depths of his mind. As soon as this power appeared, his spirit was shaken, and he immediately recovered. At the same time, every cell in his body seemed to be bursting with energy, causing his injured body to quickly recover. As expected, it's effective. I knew your potential wasn't limited to this. Bone laughed loudly. Senior Bone Devil, what happened just now? What kind of power was that? Lu Ming asked. He was very curious. Right now, all of his divine energy had been suppressed by the taboo energy. How could there be a burst of energy that allowed him to recover at such a crucial moment? That's your untapped potential, Guo said. Potential? Lu Ming was puzzled. Yes, it's potential. This means that you still have potential to be unearthed. Your talent isn't limited to this, but don't be happy too early. With your current level, you still can't fuse with the taboo energy. Let's see if you still have potential to be unearthed, Guo said. Lu Ming nodded silently in his heart, and then continued to persevere. This time Lu Ming persevered for a longer time. He persevered for another 6 hours. Adding the previous 3 hours, he had persevered for a total of 9 hours. The scene was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. Was this really the rhythm of success? At this time, Lu Ming had reached his limit again. Brr! Lu Ming roared. His eyes were bloodshot as he desperately persevered. The pain this time was stronger than the previous time. Just as Lu Ming was about to collapse, another burst of energy burst out. In an instant, Lu Ming recovered. As expected, there's still potential. But it's still not enough. Guo sighed. Lu Ming was speechless. What else could Lu Ming say? He gritted his teeth and continued to persevere. This time, after more than 10 hours, Lu Ming reached his limit again. Then, another burst of energy burst out. 3 times. Guo whispered. At this moment, the soul fire in his eye sockets was flickering. He seemed to be very surprised. To burst out potential 3 times in a row, this was absolutely shocking. Even with his experience, he had never seen such a thing before. This meant that even if Lu Ming cultivated step by step and slowly developed his potential, he could reach a very terrifying realm in the future. However, this wasn't Lu Ming's limit. After a while, Lu Ming burst out potential for the 4th time. But after the 4th time, it was the 5th time. Later on, each time he persevered, it would be longer than the previous time. By the 5th time, Lu Ming had already persevered for 7 days. 5 times, it's already been 5 times. There should be a possibility of success. Gumo's bones were trembling slightly. At first he thought that Lu Ming wouldn't succeed, but now it was hard to say. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly entered a strange state. Originally he was surrounded by endless pain, but that pain suddenly disappeared. Am I going to succeed? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly sat cross-legged on the lotus. He carefully sensed it, and his spiritual sense penetrated into every cell. He had a feeling that the taboo energy was filling every cell, as if it was about to fuse with his cells. I'm really going to succeed. Haha, it seems that my talent is comparable to a peerless genius. Lu Ming thought narcissistically. He felt that he was really going to succeed. After a while, the taboo energy would completely fuse with his cells. But at this time, more figures appeared in the crowd. These figures were the top monsters who had failed to fuse with the taboo energy. They were seriously injured and retreated to recuperate. During this period, their injuries were almost recovered. Damn it, is this kid going to succeed? Jin Yan's eyes burst out with shocking killing intent. We can't let this kid continue. Let's attack and kill them. We'll deal with those dragons while we're at it. Alright, let's attack. These top monsters transmitted their voices to each other, reaching a consensus. Shwa shwa. They suddenly charged out. In an instant, there were at least a dozen peak monsters who weren't weaker than Jin Yan, charging at Lu Ming. They're attacking. Ao Yen and the others were constantly paying attention to their surroundings. The moment Jin Yan and the others attacked, they noticed it. Block them. Ao Guan let out a long howl and rushed out. After 5 days of recuperation, Ao Guan's injuries were more or less healed. At the same time, Ao Cheng and the others also charged out. Ao Yen in particular roared and the lava lake boiled. Giant fish appeared one after another, opening their mouths and shooting arrows at Jin Yan and the others. Ever since Jin Yan and the others had recovered from their injuries and returned, Ao Yen knew that a huge battle was unavoidable. Hence, she had secretly summoned those giant fishes to hide under the lava lake. Chapter 3667. The scene fell into a chaotic battle. At least 100 giant fishes shot out thousands of arrows towards Jin Yan and the others, enveloping them. At the same time, Ao Yen and the others launched their attacks, blocking the attacks of Jin Yan and the others. We must stop them and wait for Lu Ming to succeed. Ao Yen roared, and her silver-white dragon body emitted a dazzling divine light. Every ray of divine light turned into an incomparably sharp blade, slashing in all directions. Ao Qing, Ao Guan, and the others also did their best to stall the dozen or so top monsters. All of you attack together. What are you waiting for? Do you really want to wait for that kid to succeed? Jin Yan roared, his voice spreading in all directions. Attack. Kill that kid and you will be heavily rewarded. Kill. The surrounding paragons of various clans could not hold themselves back. One after another they charged toward Lu Ming. Ao Yen roared, summoning the giant fish to block them. Hundreds of giant fish rolled in the magma lake, and the magma lake turned into magma waves that rushed towards the geniuses in all directions. At the same time, numerous glittering and translucent arrows with astonishing power shot out in all directions. Immediately many people were blocked. Kill these giant fish first. Without these giant fish, there will only be a few divine dragons left. They won't be able to do anything. Someone roared. Then, the geniuses of the various races changed their target and attacked the giant fish. There were too many geniuses of the various races, and there were so many top monsters. These giant fish could not stop them at all. Instantly, the giant fish were killed one after another. The number of giant fish rapidly decreased. Not good, we can't stop them. What should we do? Ao Yen and the others were a little anxious. If they retreated now, Lu Ming would definitely die. Block them for as long as possible. Try to buy time for Lu Ming. Ao Yen gritted her teeth. Her body rapidly expanded to over 1,000,000 meters long, and her dragon claws stepped on the air, enveloping a large group of geniuses. You want to stop us? Dream on. Today we will kill you, nine-clawed dragon. A two-headed giant wolf snorted coldly and pouncing towards Ao Yen. This two-headed giant wolf had 7th level Divine Lord Cultivation. Its combat power was not weaker than Ao Yan's at all. The two of them fought fiercely. With the help of the other sky prides, Ao Yen was at a disadvantage. Ao Guan and the others were also at a disadvantage and were in imminent danger. Lu Ming took note of all these situations. His spiritual senses scanned all of them. It should be about time. Lu Ming murmured. He felt that the fusion should have been successful. Even if it ended now, the taboo energy was already his. Then let's do it. Lu Ming muttered. He suddenly stood up, wanting to erupt with divine power. However, when he tried to circulate his divine power, he realized that it was difficult to circulate it. The speed at which it circulated was dozens of times slower than before. It was being suppressed by the taboo power. It can't be, right? I fused with the taboo energy and my divine power is suppressed. Wouldn't that be a loss? Lu Ming wailed in his heart. This was extremely bad news. He hurriedly asked Bone. This, I'm not sure either. Guamo muttered. Hi he he he. Lu Ming really wanted to curse. You're not sure either? Don't you know everything? Lu Ming almost vomited blood. Bone seemed to be a little embarrassed and continued to mutter. I'm guessing that the taboo energy is too strong, too high level. That's why it suppressed the other divine powers. Moreover, you've just fused with the taboo energy, so you can't use it freely. When you try more in the future, you should be able to achieve a balance and it won't affect the other divine powers. Of course, these are all my guesses. As for the specifics, it's up to you to figure it out yourself. At the end, Bone Demon added another sentence, rendering Lu Ming speechless. It seems that I can only use the taboo energy to fight. Lu Ming pondered. Since he couldn't circulate his divine power, he could only rely on the taboo energy. Immediately, ignoring the divine power, Lu Ming shook his bones and muscles, mobilizing all the power in his muscles and bones, and rushed out. Boom. Lu Ming's body shot out like a cannonball. His speed was astonishing. Brat die. The one in front of Lu Ming was a top monster, Jin Yan. He exuded a golden glow from head to toe and threw a punch at Lu Ming. Die. Lu Ming shouted, but he could only throw a punch. Now he couldn't circulate his divine power and couldn't use his secret techniques. He could only fight with his physical body. Since the taboo energy had fused with every cell in his body, it should be able to strengthen his physical body. Lu Ming could only look forward to it. You want to compete with me in terms of physical body? You're courting death. Jin Yan was ecstatic when he saw Lu Ming use his fist to fight against his fist. His eyes flashed with a sinister light. He was from the Vajra race and his body was as tough as diamond. In the primitive universe, there were very few people who could compare with the Vajra race in terms of physical body. Boom. In the next moment, their fists collided like two planets colliding. Then the sinister light in Jin Yan's eyes disappeared, and was replaced by shock, disbelief, and then pain. Crack. The sound of bones breaking rang out. Of course, it came from Jin Yan's arm. Cracks began to appear on his golden fist. More and more cracks began to appear, covering his entire arm. It was as if he was a broken piece of porcelain. Then with a loud bang, his entire arm exploded. Jin Yan screamed and retreated. So powerful. Even Lu Ming was shocked. He had fought Jin Yan several times before, and he knew how strong Jin Yan's fists were. But now his entire arm had been shattered by a single punch. The taboo energy has fused with every cell. My physical body has become so strong. Lu Ming thought about it and was delighted. Die. Those thoughts passed in a flash and Lu Ming charged at Jin Yan. Lu Ming's muscles and bones trembled, pushing his body forward. His speed was astonishing and he caught up to Jin Yan in an instant. Then he threw a punch. Boom. A huge explosion occurred in the air as a terrifying power surged towards Jin Yan like an avalanche. Jin Yan screamed. Lu Ming's punch made him feel like he was about to die. His body began to shine and he curled into a ball and began to spin. This was his strongest move. This move could be used both offensively and defensively. If he wasn't a match for his opponent, he could even borrow his opponent's strength to escape. His body was like a vertical spinning top. Boom. Lu Ming's fist landed. An even louder explosion rang out. Following that, the spinning top that Golden Inferno had transformed into flew out and stopped spinning. Jin Yan's body was now covered in cracks. How is this possible? Jin Yan said in disbelief. Then with a bang he exploded. Chapter 3668. This time it wasn't just Jin Yan's arm that exploded. His entire body and soul were destroyed. He was killed by Lu Ming with a single punch. The others were all shocked. A peak monster was killed just like that. Wasn't this too fast? Kill. Lu Ming did not stop. With a turn of his body, he threw another punch at the group of elites of the various clans. The air exploded as the terrifying fist pressure pressed forward. Immediately, a large number of geniuses were killed before they could even scream. There were at least a few dozen of them. Retreat. The remaining people in that area screamed and frantically retreated. Lu Ming didn't chase after them. These people weren't a threat. His target was the peak experts that had entered the dragon race's mother planet over 30 years ago. With a turn of his body, Lu Ming charged toward another top-notch expert, the prodigy of the multi-hand race. This person had also attacked him before. The multi-hand race's genius's expression changed when he saw Lu Ming charge over. He had seen Jin Yan's fate. So he didn't dare let Lu Ming get close. His 8 arms lit up and formed seals. In an instant 8 attacks condensed. There were divine pagodas, divine mountains, sabers and swords. 8 different attacks fell on Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's attack was very simple. He threw a punch and the 8 types of attacks exploded. Lu Ming's figure rapidly approached the 8-armed young man. Not good. The 8-armed youth's expression changed. He charged to the side, wanting to borrow the strength of the other experts to fight Lu Ming. But even though he was fast, Lu Ming was even faster. His muscles moved the air, pushing him forward. He was even faster than when he was using the wind-extinguishing boots. In an instant he approached the 8-armed youth and punched. The 8-armed youth was unable to block Lu Ming's attack. He followed in Jin Yan's footsteps and was directly killed. A 6th-level Divine Lord top-notch monster was not Lu Ming's match at all. Upon seeing this, the surrounding top geniuses were astounded. They immediately backed off and distanced themselves from Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming would not let them go. He charged out explosively, charging towards one of them. In the end, that person failed to escape and was killed by Lu Ming. Then he continued to chase after the next one. "Brat, don't be so arrogant." With a furious roar, a huge crocodile charged towards Lu Ming. This was a crocodile as long as 100 meters. It was also a top monster. Moreover, its cultivation was astonishing, reaching the 7th-level Divine Lord realm, the same level as the two-headed wolf race youth. Swish! The crocodile's tail lashed out like a steel whip, creating a loud sound as it whipped the air. A strong wind blew as it swept towards Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming punched out again and collided with the crocodile's tail. With a loud bang, the crocodile's tail was blasted back, but it did not explode. They were both peak geniuses, but with a higher cultivation level they were much stronger. They could even be instantly killed. This was also the reason the crocodile had dared to fight Lu Ming after seeing Lu Ming's combat power. "Kill?" The crocodile roared, killing intent flickering in its eyes. Its huge body pounced at Lu Ming. He opened his mouth, and the teeth in his mouth transformed into sharp sabers that flew towards Lu Ming. Clang! Lu Ming punched out, clashing with the sabers. The sabers were sent flying, but they didn't explode. Interesting. Again. Lu Ming clenched his fists and constantly punched. His attacks were like a storm. He wanted to see how strong he was at the peak of his combat strength. Boom. Boom. Explosions constantly rang out. In an instant, Lu Ming had sent out hundreds of punches. The crocodile finally couldn't resist anymore. First, the sabers formed from his teeth shattered. Then, the dense fist energy landed on the crocodile's body and directly blew it apart. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere and scales flew everywhere. The expressions of the various races' geniuses all changed greatly. The crocodile couldn't be compared to Jin Yan, the 8-armed youth, and the others. The crocodile was a peak 7th-level Divine Lord. It could be said that he was one of the strongest geniuses who had entered the dragon race's mother planet more than 30 years ago. There was no one stronger than them. Even such people were killed by Lu Ming. It could be said that in the current dragon race's mother planet, Lu Ming was already invincible. Go! The various races' geniuses were truly afraid. They didn't dare to stay and frantically retreated, flying towards the sky. They wanted to leave this place and return to the surface of the dragon race's mother planet. Some of the peak geniuses also began to flee. Don't even think about leaving. Ao Yen roared, doing her best to hold back the two-headed wolf race youth. Very good. Lu Ming's gaze also turned towards the two-headed wolf race youth. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he took a step forward and charged towards the two-headed wolf race youth. Damn it! The two-headed wolf race youth roared in his heart. He was incomparably anxious as he constantly charged forward, wanting to escape. However, Ao Yen risked her own injuries to hold him back. It was very difficult for him to escape in a short period of time. With this delay, Lu Ming had already arrived. Boom! Lu Ming didn't need any techniques now. He just raised his fists and punched wildly. The two-headed wolf race's prodigy's combat strength was about the same as the crocodile's. And now, Lu Ming and Ao Yen were jointly attacking. He couldn't resist at all. After a few dozen punches from Lu Ming, the two-headed wolf race's prodigy let out a miserable cry and exploded. At this time, the other race's geniuses had already completely retreated. They frantically flew towards the sky, wanting to use that passage to return to the surface. Ao Guan, Ao Cheng, and the others let out a long breath. Then their gazes fell on Lu Ming. There was envy, surprise, and disbelief. "Brother Lu, did you really succeed?" Ao Guan asked. His eyes were full of worship for Lu Ming. He had personally tried to fuse with that wisp of qi, so he knew how difficult it was. He had tried his best, but only lasted for half an hour. Lu Ming, on the other hand, had lasted for more than 5 days. He simply couldn't imagine how Lu Ming had persevered for so long. It should be considered a success, Lu Ming said. He wasn't very sure. After all, he couldn't even circulate his divine power smoothly now. It must have succeeded. If it hadn't, that wisp of qi wouldn't have stayed in your body for long. It would have flown out. Ao Yen said with a complicated expression. No one knew what she was thinking. I still can't control it very well. I need to explore it more, Lu Ming said. Next they chatted for a while. At this time, there was an uproar in the illusory divine jade. Someone had already used the illusory divine jade to record the previous scene and send it to the illusory space. The news that Lu Ming had succeeded in fusing with the qi was also sent, causing a huge commotion. Lu Ming had actually succeeded in fusing with the power that even the Heavenly Palace cared about. Chapter 3669. This caused a huge uproar in the primitive universe. Countless people were discussing and paying attention. Even the top races were the same. As for the races whose geniuses Lu Ming had killed, they were furious and said that they wanted to tear Lu Ming to pieces. Outside it was chaotic. As for Lu Ming and the others, they were peacefully cultivating by the lava lake. Now Lu Ming had just gained control of the taboo energy. According to Bone Devil, he needed to familiarize himself with it. Only then would he be able to lessen the suppression of his other divine powers. Otherwise he wouldn't be able to use his other divine powers. Just like that, several days passed. Lu Ming's control of the taboo energy did improve, but it wasn't by much. The main reason was that he hadn't had much time. Lu Ming. Suddenly a loud roar rang out. This loud roar came from the sky. It passed through the 10,000 dragon seal in the passageway, reaching the magma lake and exploding in the ears of Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the rest. It was like thunder, like heavenly might. It made people unable to resist. It was as if it could make people submit. Who is it? Ao Guan's expression was ugly. He looked up at the passage with a grave expression. It was just a voice, but it made people unable to even think of resisting. A lord of heaven from the heavenly palace. Lu Ming slowly spoke. His expression was unprecedentedly grave. At this moment the dreamland was in an uproar. Because a lord of heaven from the heavenly palace had personally come to the dragon race's mother planet. The one who had spoken was the heavenly palace's lord of heaven. Lu Ming saw the various races' discussions through the dreamland jade. A lord of heaven from the heavenly palace. Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others' expressions changed. There was disbelief in their eyes. The lord of heaven was a giant in the heavenly palace, a top expert in the primitive universe. He was a terrifying existence. Who would have thought that Lu Ming would be able to attract someone like the Lord of Heaven from the heavenly palace to personally descend upon him just by fusing with that strand of power? What exactly was that strand of power? While Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others were shocked, they couldn't help but speculate in their hearts. The Lord of Heaven? Lu Ming whispered, his expression extremely solemn. The inheritance of the divine Eye Lord of Heaven that Chiu Autumn Moon had obtained was from one of the heavenly palace, the Lord of Heaven. He didn't expect that he would have to deal with the real Lord of Heaven now. Now what should we do? Ao Guan said. Let's go out and take a look. I wonder if the 10,000 dragon seals can stop the Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming said. In fact, whether the 10,000 dragon seals could stop the Lord of Heaven or not, they still had to go out and take a look. If they couldn't stop him, it would be useless for them to hide here. Ao Yen and the others nodded. Then all of them flew up and followed the passageway that they had come down from. After a while, they flew out of the passage and returned to the bottom of the sea. There was no one around. It was obvious that the prodigies of the various races had all retreated. They flew up and soon arrived above the sea. Above. As soon as they returned to the sea, they were attracted by the scene in the sky. An incomparably huge figure stood in the starry sky. His body was so huge that it seemed to be the same size as the golden winged race or the Wu people from before. However, this person's body emitted a bright divine light that enveloped his body. They couldn't see his appearance clearly, but they felt that he was incomparably sacred. His two eyes were like two beams of light that seemed to break through all the fog and landed on Lu Ming and the others. After all, the dragon race's mother planet was protected by the 10,000 dragon seals. From the outside it was a fog. If one wanted to see through the fog, they would need to be very strong. The Lord of Heaven. Needless to say, Lu Ming and the others also knew that this person was the Lord of Heaven from the heavenly palace. Lu Ming. The Lord of Heaven opened his mouth again. His voice boomed like the might of heaven. Lord of Heaven, why are you looking for me? Lu Ming asked. His voice wasn't loud, but he knew that the Lord of Heaven could definitely hear him. You fused with that power. The Lord of Heaven spoke, but he didn't say that the power was forbidden. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. Very good. Now I'll give you a chance. Join the heavenly palace and I'll give you the position of heavenly emperor. The Lord of Heaven spoke. The Lord of Heaven's voice spread in all directions. He didn't hide it. Regardless of whether it was the young geniuses or the older generation, when they heard it, they were all envious. That was the position of the Son of Heaven. Once one ascended to it, they would be like a carp leaping through the dragon gate. From then on, they would be high and mighty, and could do whatever they wanted in the Your Wilds universe. Especially the races that had a grudge against Lu Ming, such as the Winged Men and the Wu people. They were extremely unwilling. Once Lu Ming became the Heavenly Emperor of the Heavenly Palace, they wouldn't be able to take revenge on Lu Ming. When they saw Lu Ming in the future, they would have to treat him with respect and curry favor with Lu Ming. When they thought of this, they were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. Especially the Golden Winged Men. His son was killed by Lu Ming. He couldn't wait to chop Lu Ming into pieces. At this moment he was the most furious. But since the Lord of Heaven spoke, he didn't dare to refute. Although the Lord of Heaven wasn't the strongest person in the Heavenly Palace, he represented the face of the Heavenly Palace. Countless people were watching. Although most of them couldn't hear Lu Ming's words, they couldn't see Lu Ming either. But there were a few other mighty beings around the dragon race's mother planet, such as the Golden Winged Men and the Wu people. They could see Lu Ming on the dragon race's mother planet and hear Lu Ming's words. "Are you trying to bribe me?" Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Lu Ming don't agree. The taboo force is a heaven-defying force. It's a natural enemy of the Heavenly Palace. The Heavenly Palace will never let go of someone who has fused with the taboo force. Once you go to the Heavenly Palace, they will take you down and destroy your spiritual will. They will control you and turn you into a puppet of the Heavenly Palace. The Bone Demon's voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. But the Bone Demon was very careful now. He restrained his soul power as if he was afraid of being discovered by the Lord of Heaven. Destroy one's spiritual will and become a puppet of the Heavenly Palace. Has the Heavenly Palace done something like this before? Lu Ming was extremely shocked. As far as I know, yes. The Bone Demon answered affirmatively. Lu Ming was shocked. How deep was the Heavenly Palace's water? If such a taboo force was controlled by the Heavenly Palace and turned into a puppet, wouldn't they have an invincible fighter when he grew up? So, the Lord of Heaven wants to trick you into leaving the dragon race's mother planet. The Bone Demon said. Lu Ming nodded silently. He believed the Bone Demon. Lord of Heaven, please give me some time to think about it. How about that? Lu Ming said loudly. He didn't refuse immediately. Instead, he said that he would think about it for a while. He wanted to stall for time. The Golden Winged Men and the Wu people were paying attention to Lu Ming's situation. When they saw that Lu Ming didn't agree, they were a little stunned. This kid is really stupid. He didn't agree to such a good offer. Good. I hope the Lord of Heaven will be angry. The mighty figures of the Winged Men tribe and the Sorcerer tribe were elated and excited. They quickly sent Lu Ming's reply to the dreamy divine Jade. Chapter 3670. The Winged Men and Wu people's experts sent Lu Ming's words to the dreamy divine Jade, which caused another uproar. What? That brat actually didn't agree? He didn't agree immediately and he still wants to think about it? What's there to think about? If I were him, I'd agree immediately. Arrogant and ignorant. Who does he think he is? The Lord Heaven personally invited him and he still wants to think about it? He's really courting death. I hope the Lord Heaven is furious. The dreamy divine Jade was in an uproar. Many people were heartbroken. They wished they were Lu Ming and could replace Lu Ming. Lu Ming actually wanted to consider such an opportunity. Some people were gloating, hoping that the Lord Heaven would be furious. That way Lu Ming would definitely die. Outside the dragon race's home planet, the Lord Heaven's divine light flickered. He clearly wasn't calm. He hadn't expected Lu Ming to refuse. There's no room for consideration. Lu Ming, I'll give you a chance. If you agree immediately, you'll still be the son of heaven of the Heavenly Palace. You can enjoy the endless resources of the Heavenly Palace. The Heavenly Palace continued to speak. This time there was an unquestionable tone in his voice. The Lord Heaven was a peak expert of the primitive universe. His words carried enormous weight. No one dared to go against his will. No one dared to. He didn't believe that Lu Ming would dare. Unless Lu Ming didn't want to live anymore. The Winged Men and Wu people's experts were also paying attention. If it were in the past, Lu Ming would really consider it. But now that he knew the inside story, how could Lu Ming possibly agree? He would be a fool to agree. So Lu Ming added, Lord Heaven, I still have things to do. Please allow me to wait for a while. Impudent. As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, the Lord Heaven roared. Boom! The starry sky trembled as a terrifying aura spread out. Outside the dragon race's mother planet, the entire starry sky was filled with cracks that extended to an unknown location. It's scary. When the Lord of Heaven is angry, the earth shatters and the stars are destroyed. Fortunately, the people of the various races had already retreated far away and were not affected. As for the mother planet of the dragon clan, it was not affected much by the 10,000 dragon seals. The Lord Heaven is angry. Could it be that Lu Ming refused? Well said. Stupid, he's dead for sure. Everyone discussed and then continued to wait. Outside the dragon race's home planet, the Lord of Heaven's eyes were brighter than two suns as he stared at Lu Ming. Even though there were 10,000 dragon seals between them, Lu Ming still felt a powerful pressure. Are you rejecting this monarch? The Lord of Heaven spoke again. His voice was even colder than before. I said to wait for a while. Since the Lord of Heaven wants to think so, that's fine. Lu Ming said indifferently. He didn't want to agree in the first place. Since waiting for a while wasn't enough, he might as well refuse. Haha. Lu Ming's words made the golden winged race's experts, the Wu people's experts, and the others laugh in their hearts. Of course, they only laughed in their hearts and didn't dare to show it. If they did, wouldn't it be a slap to the Lord of Heaven's face? Then they immediately sent this news to the illusory godly jade. Lu Ming rejected it. He really rejected it. There's actually such a stupid person in the world. He doesn't even want the throne. Idiot, a real idiot. If you don't want it, give it to me. Damn it, damn it. Countless people wailed, roared, and were unwilling to accept it. Of course, there were also many who gloated. Boom. Outside the dragon race's mother planet, the Lord of Heaven's aura became even more terrifying. The divine light on his body shrouded the sun. Countless dragon humans were panicking all over the dragon race's mother planet. They looked at the outer region in horror, feeling that a disaster was imminent. Do you think that I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding in the dragon race's mother planet and protected by 10,000 dragon seals? The Lord of Heaven spoke. His voice was filled with killing intent. Originally, he wanted to use the throne to trick Lu Ming into going to the heavenly palace. After that, he would directly suppress Lu Ming, obliterate Lu Ming's spiritual will, and turn Lu Ming into a puppet of the heavenly palace. He would become a sharp blade of the heavenly palace. He didn't expect that Lu Ming would reject it. Could it be that Lu Ming knew the secret of the forbidden power? No matter what, the heavenly palace would never allow someone who had fused with the forbidden power to still be alive and kicking. Because in history, the heavenly palace had suffered a great loss because of this. All races, listen up, especially the top 100 races. Go and call all the geniuses below the divine emperor realm. I will send them into the dragon race's mother planet to kill Lu Ming. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. Whoever can bring him to me will be conferred the title of Heavenly Daughter. The Lord of Heaven's voice spread across the starry sky. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Suddenly voices rang out in the starry sky. Then the experts of the various races quickly sent the news back to their headquarters. You want to send in stronger geniuses to kill me? As long as they're below the divine emperor realm, they can be sent in? Lu Ming's face was a little solemn. The Lord of Heaven's means are unfathomable. Now that the power of the 10,000 dragon seals has decreased, we don't know if he can really do it. We have to be careful. Ao Yen said. Then what should we do? Ao Guan was a little anxious. Their cultivation was still too weak. If anyone below the divine emperor realm could come in, they wouldn't be able to fight against them. Especially the top 100 races of the ancient desolate 10,000 races. There were definitely some peerless geniuses among them, and their cultivation was at the 7th, 8th, or even 9th level of the divine emperor realm. They could kill them with a flip of their hand. You all stay here and observe the situation. I'll go and make some arrangements. I'll come to you later. Ao Yin said to Lu Ming and the others. After saying that, her figure flashed and she left the place. Lu Ming and the others stood on the surface of the sea and waited quietly. They wanted to know if the Lord of Heaven could really send in so many powerful geniuses. Time passed by day by day. Lu Ming found out through the illusory divine jade that some terrifying geniuses among the various races were rushing to the dragon race's mother planet. Originally, with the strength of the 10,000 dragon seals, it was impossible for these people to enter the dragon race's mother planet in a short period of time. Even if the 10,000 dragon seals weakened again after a few decades, it would still be impossible for these 7th-level divine emperors and above to enter. But now, the Lord of Heaven had spoken, and these geniuses were extremely excited. Entering the dragon race's mother planet, not only could they kill Lu Ming, but they also had a chance to obtain the position of Heavenly Daughter. In addition, the opportunities in the dragon race's mother planet were also very tempting. Of course, the distance between the various races and the dragon race's mother planet varied. Some races were quite far away from the dragon race's mother planet. Even with the wormhole, it would still take a long time. It wasn't until half a month later that a large number of geniuses from various races gathered outside the dragon race's mother planet. Wait a moment. I'll open a gap in the 10,000 dragon seals. Hurry up and rush in through the gap. Do you understand? Remember, those above the Divine Emperor realm don't move. The backlash from the 10,000 dragon seals will be very strong. It will kill you. The Lord of Heaven said. Understood. The geniuses of various races shouted. Chapter 3671. Next, the Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace made his move. His body emitted boundless divine light, and the starry sky began to tremble. Then the boundless divine light gathered into a battle sword and slashed down at the dragon race's mother planet. Dazzling, incomparably dazzling, so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Rumble, before the battle sword slashed down, the entire dragon race's mother planet shook violently, as if it was about to explode. Of course, this was an illusion. The dragon race's mother planet was born from the primordial chaos when heaven and earth were first created. How could it be destroyed so easily? If it could, it would have been destroyed in the battle back then. Roar! In the next moment, a dragon's roar shook the sky, and the entire dragon race's mother planet lit up. Then an incomparably huge dragon claw reached out, grabbing at the dazzling sword light. 10,000 dragon seals activated. Boom! A terrifying explosion sounded, and it was as if dozens of stars had exploded in the starry sky. The dragon race's mother planet shook violently once again, and the seawater tumbled, causing a tsunami and huge waves hundreds of meters high. Lu Ming Ao Guan and the others opened their eyes wide, gathering their divine power in their eyes as they stared at the sky. Open! The Lord of Heaven shouted, and his voice shook the universe. Pure white divine power burst out crazily, gathering into an even bigger battle sword and slashing down. The Lord of Heaven was really too strong. Who knew how high his cultivation had reached? Above the Divine Emperor realm or above, no one knew. It was too far away from Lu Ming. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the sky, and the 10,000 dragon seals were activated. It was as if 10,000 divine dragons were roaring at the same time. Lu Ming vaguely saw a huge divine dragon curling its body, forming a circle around the entire dragon race's mother planet. Roar! This divine dragon let out a shocking roar, and stretched out a dragon claw, grabbing at the Lord of Heaven's battle sword. Another violent explosion sounded out. Strength overflowed in all directions. The dragon claw and the battle sword shattered at the same time. However, the Lord of Heaven made a grabbing motion, and a gigantic hand appeared, grabbing towards the 10,000 dragon seal. Then the Lord of Heaven tried to tear the 10,000 dragon seal apart. However, the 10,000 dragon seal was not that easy to break. Dragon roars rang out as more dragon claws reached out and clawed at the claw formed by the Lord of Heaven. At this moment, another figure suddenly appeared beside the Lord of Heaven. This figure was also extremely huge, and its entire body emitted a pure white holy light. Shockingly, there were 6 pairs of pure white wings on his back. There were a total of 12 wings. A 12-winged angel of the angel race, a thought appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Lord of Heaven, let me help you. The 12-winged angel's voice rang out. Boundless divine light enveloped it, and it transformed into an angel sword that slashed at the dragon claw. This 12-winged angel's cultivation was terrifying. Its combat power was actually not any weaker than the Lord of Heaven's. The pure white sword condensed from holy light slashed down, directly blocking the dragon claw's attack. Lu Ming discovered that the angel race's divine energy and attack method were very similar to the Lord of Heaven's. No wonder it was rumored that the angel race's backer was the Heavenly Palace. With the 12-winged angel blocking the dragon claw, the Lord of Heaven's hands were freed. With a shout, he waved his hands and 2 huge palms appeared. He grabbed at the 10,000 dragon seal and then tore it apart. Rumble, crack, terrifying explosions rang out and the stars shook. Then, everyone saw that the 10,000 dragon seal had actually been torn apart by a crack. Although it was very small, it was really torn open. Lu Ming Ao Guan and the others' expressions changed. At this time, a figure appeared beside Lu Ming and the others. It was Ao Yen. Ao Yen looked at the sky, her expression very grave. It seems that the 10,000 dragon seal has really weakened a lot. Ao Yen muttered. Back then, when the 10,000 dragon seal had just been formed, not to mention 1 or 2 existences on the level of the Lord of Heaven, even 8 or 10 of them wouldn't be able to break it. In these past years, the 10,000 dragon seal had indeed become weaker. Nothing could stop the erosion of time. All of you go in. Quickly. The Lord of Heaven shouted, allowing the various races' geniuses to take the opportunity to charge into the dragon race's mother planet. Charge. Immediately, the various races' geniuses charged toward the crack. The ones at the front were the demon-level geniuses from the top 10 races on the desolate 10,000 races board. However, when they reached the crack, they were blocked by a terrifying force. They were unable to move forward at all. There was even a monstrous genius with the highest cultivation, a quasi-emperor realm genius. With a miserable scream, his body directly exploded. This was a terrifying genius of the angel race, and he died just like that. Not good. The top 10 races' geniuses frantically retreated in fright. However, there were some monstrous geniuses from races ranked below the top 10. They charged through without being affected. Damn it. The Lord of Heaven roared, "The top 10 races' geniuses, back off. Your bloodlines are too strong, and you're being targeted by the 10,000 dragon seal. Don't go in." The other races' geniuses quickly go in. They can't go in. The eyes of the geniuses below the top 10 lit up. The fact that the top 10 races' geniuses couldn't go in was great news for them. There would be less competition. As for the top 10 races' geniuses, their expressions were ugly. Such a huge opportunity had slipped away just like that. They were unwilling. "Quick, I can't hold on for much longer," shouted the Lord of Heaven. Whoosh! A large number of geniuses charged into the crack. In just a few breaths' time, several hundred people had charged in. "All right, everyone else, back off." The Heavenly Lord yelled, and a surge of energy shot out from his body, pushing the rest of the elites back. The number of geniuses that had come was shocking. There were naturally more than a few hundred of them. However, the Lord of Heaven couldn't hold on for much longer. The backlash from the 10,000 dragon seal was too strong. He could only open the crack for a few breaths' time. Following that, the Lord of Heaven's body trembled and he retreated a few steps. The two hands he had condensed collapsed, and the crack also disappeared. Damn it. It's too bad we didn't make it in time. Those people really got lucky. The remaining geniuses were bitter and hateful. They cursed themselves for being a step too slow and missing such a good thing. They were envious, jealous, and resentful. In their view, among the several hundred people who had just entered, there would definitely be someone who would become a heavenly son or heavenly daughter. "All right, all we have to do is wait," said the Lord of Heaven. He retreated with the 12-winged angel, and the light around him dimmed. Now that the geniuses had been sent in, all they had to do was wait. On the dragon race's mother planet, above the sea. After the Lord of Heaven tore open a crack in the 10,000 dragon seal, Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others left the sea. "We can't fight these people. We can only avoid them for now. Follow me," Ao Yen said, and charged into the sea. Lu Ming, Ao Guan, and the others also charged into the sea. They swam into the distance. Chapter 3672. Lu Ming wasn't an impulsive person. The monstrous geniuses that came in this time weren't people they could deal with. The top 100 existences on the great desolate 10,000 races board were definitely terrifyingly talented. Furthermore, the cultivation limit was below the divine emperor realm. That meant that the people that came in were all 7th level divine lords or above. That was because they had already seen Lu Ming's strength. If their cultivation bases were too low, they wouldn't be Lu Ming's match at all. So the people that came in this time were definitely monstrous geniuses with extremely high cultivation bases. What could Lu Ming and the others use to fight against such geniuses? Being impulsive would only lead to death. Lu Ming and the others followed Ao Yen through the seabed. After a while, they arrived at a small island. The island was filled with restrictive spells. This island is called Penglai Island. It's very hidden and covered with restrictions. If we go in, those people outside won't be able to find us. Ao Yen formed a hand seal and opened the restrictions. They entered the island. What a spacious island. What dense divine qi. Lu Ming's eyes lit up the moment they entered the island. This island was incomparably huge, like a continent. Clearly, someone had used spatial folding techniques on Penglai Island. It looked small from the outside, but it was incomparably huge once they entered. Furthermore, the divine qi was extremely dense. It was even denser than Black Dragon Valley and Golden Dragon Ridge. The island was lush and full of vitality. They could smell the medicinal fragrance from afar. There were definitely many shocking divine herbs growing here. "It's not bad to enter seclusion here," Lu Ming muttered. "All right, we'll enter seclusion here. Brother Lu, you have the illusory divine jade. Can you use it to observe the outside world?" said Ao Yen. "Of course." Lu Ming smiled and immediately took out the illusory divine jade to check. There was a commotion in the illusory divine jade. At one glance, Lu Ming knew that the number of monstrous geniuses who had entered this time was in the hundreds. They definitely won't be able to find this place. Let's cultivate here first. There are many divine herbs here. Once our cultivation bases increase, we'll go out and kill them all. Ao Yen said. Alright, it's cold. When the time comes, we'll make sure these people don't return. Ao Guan shouted coldly, his eyes ferocious. Everyone spread out to find a place to cultivate. Not long after Lu Ming and the others entered the bottom of the sea, the hundreds of geniuses who had entered from the outside had already arrived at the sea area where Lu Ming and the others had landed. They have left. They must be in the sea. Chase them. Spread out and chase after them. Whoever catches up to them will be considered lucky. Hundreds of geniuses rushed into the sea and spread out, chasing in all directions. However, they were destined to not be able to find Lu Ming. After chasing for some distance, they simply could not find any trace of Lu Ming and the others. The dragon race's mother planet is only so big. Let's see where you can run to. Even if I have to search the entire dragon race's mother planet, I will find you. The hundreds of geniuses spread out. Some continued to search for Lu Ming and the others in the sea, while others went to the 3 continents to search for Lu Ming and the others. Previously, there were still many geniuses from the various races who had not left. The people who had entered later gathered those people and searched everywhere for Lu Ming and the others. However, in the end they were all in vain. Time passed day by day, but they still could not find any trace of Lu Ming and the others. Penglai Island on a small mountain peak, Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged, cultivating. It had already been half a year. Ever since the Lord of Heaven had torn the 10,000 dragon seal and allowed the geniuses from the outside world to enter, half a year had passed. During this half a year, Lu Ming had been cultivating on Penglai Island. His main cultivation direction was to control the taboo energy. That was because he realized that if he couldn't completely control the taboo energy, he wouldn't be able to use any other energy, let alone cultivate. Half a year was really too short. Although Lu Ming felt that his control of the taboo energy had increased, he was still a distance away from completely controlling it. Even so, Lu Ming felt that his strength had increased by a lot. As long as he controlled his muscles and bones, he could feel power erupting from every cell. When this power erupted, it was very shocking. Although he didn't use any secret techniques, when this power erupted, it was much stronger than when he used his secret techniques in the past. Meanwhile, a dragon's roar could be heard coming from another direction, followed by a powerful aura. Ao Yen also broke through. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He knew that Ao Yen had broken through. She had broken through from the 4th level of the Divine Lord Realm to the 5th level of the Divine Lord Realm. Ao Yan's strength was already extremely strong. Now that she had broken through to the 5th level of the Divine Lord Realm, her battle strength had undoubtedly increased. Actually, in this half a year, Ao Guan, Ao Cheng, and the other 4 8-clawed divine dragons' cultivation had also broken through one level one after another. Penglai Island's cultivation environment was too good. Furthermore, it was filled with divine medicines. Ao Guan and the rest used these divine medicines to cultivate every day. The cultivation conditions were even better than when the Dragon Clan was at their peak. Their cultivation naturally increased very quickly. After all, when the Dragon Clan was at their peak, there were too many Dragon Clan members. The resources allocated to each Dragon Clan member was naturally limited. How was it like now, eating divine medicines like rice? In this half a year, Ao Guan and Ao Cheng's cultivation had reached the 4th level of the Divine Lord Realm. With their battle strength, their cultivation reaching the 4th level of the Divine Lord Realm was enough to compare with the 7th level Divine Lord Realm 2-headed werewolf prodigy back then. Their overall strength had soared by a large margin. Lu Ming stopped and headed in the direction where Ao Yen was. When he arrived, he saw that Ao Guang, Ao Cheng and the rest had all come. A silver 9-clawed dragon with a slender dragon body was coiled on a mountain peak. Between heaven and earth, endless divine chi rushed toward the silver 9-clawed dragon and was absorbed by her. A few hours later, Ao Yan's aura stabilized. She twisted her dragon body and transformed into human form. Princess, you've broken through. That's great. Ao Cheng smiled. All right, Princess. Let's kill our way out now. Those despicable fellows keep killing the Dragon Human Clan members to threaten us. They deserve to die. Ao Guan gritted his teeth, his killing intent cold. Let's take a look first. Ao Yen nodded. Then she formed a seal with both hands. Suddenly, images appeared in the sky. There were hundreds of images, projecting different mountains and rivers. These images were all images of various places on the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Back then, when the Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven attacked the 10,000 dragon seals, Ao Yin had left for a period of time. During this period of time, she had contacted the dragon-human clan members all over the place and set up many surveillance arrays. These grand monitoring formations were able to project images of the area they were in. During this period of time, they had watched the situation outside through the surveillance arrays. Some images were empty. There was no one in them. But in some images there were people. Some were only the dragon-human clan, but in some images, there were also prodigies from the outside world. Chapter 3673. For example, one of the scenes. Tell me, where are those 9-clawed dragon and that Lu Ming? One of the geniuses from the outside world held a jade talisman in his hand. The jade talisman glowed and a portrait appeared. It was really a portrait of Lu Ming and the others. The geniuses from the outside world were interrogating a group of dragon humans. We don't know, we haven't seen them at all. A dragon human cried out. In that case, what's the point of keeping you alive? The geniuses from the outside world shouted coldly and struck out with his palm. One by one, the dragon humans exploded and were killed. There was not only one such situation but several other places. In the past half a year, such a situation had happened frequently. In fact, Lu Ming had seen many such videos in the illusory space. The geniuses from the outside world had deliberately recorded these videos and placed them in the illusory space to provoke Lu Ming and force Lu Ming to come out. How dare you? Kill our way out and kill these bastards. Ao Guan roared angrily. Lu Ming, Ao Yin, and the others also had killing intent in their eyes. These people's methods were too despicable. We have to kill our way out, but we can't rashly do so. These people from the outside world might have given us a chance, but we can't figure out their strength. If we want to kill a 9th-level divine lord or even a quasi-emperor, then not only will we not be able to kill them, but we will also lose our lives, Ao Yin said. She was much calmer than Ao Guan. Princess Ao Yin is right. We can kill them one by one, but we have to figure out their cultivation first. It won't be too late to take action then. Lu Ming nodded. Some dragon humans and I have set up surveillance arrays everywhere. This is very beneficial for our operation. We can slowly observe their cultivation in the dark. Ao Yin said. After discussing the plan, they began to take action. Ao Yin let the 4 8-clawed divine dragons continue to cultivate on Penglai Island while she, Lu Ming, Ao Qing, and Ao Guan set off. It was easier to move with fewer people, but more people would be more disadvantageous. They left Penglai Island and headed for the Dragon Spirit Continent. They silently entered the Dragon Spirit Continent and arrived at a mountain range. Outside the 10,000 dragon seals on the Dragon Clan's mother planet, the Lord of Heaven and Almighty Angel naturally couldn't spy on the Dragon Clan's mother planet all the time. After all, with the cover of the 10,000 dragon seals, it was impossible to see the situation inside the Dragon Clan's mother planet from the outside. Only a cloud of smoke could be seen. Of course, an expert like the Lord of Heaven could still see through the 10,000 dragon seal if he wanted to. However, maintaining this state consumed a lot of energy. Even the Lord of Heaven couldn't maintain it for a long time. That was why Lu Ming and the others dared to come out. They weren't afraid of being spied on. Ao Yin waved her hand, and a picture appeared in the air. This is the Ziming Mountain, it's not far from us. There are 2 incredible geniuses from the outside world here. Let's observe their cultivation levels first before attacking. Ao Yin said. After the plan was made, they headed towards the Ziming Mountain and laid an ambush there. There were 2 powerful geniuses on the Ziming Mountain. They were monstrous figures of the Ziying clan. After secretly observing, they finally came to the conclusion that these 2 monstrous geniuses of the Ziying clan were at the 7th-level Divine Lord realm. They could attack. Now, the strength of the 4 of them had improved greatly compared to half a year ago. The other party was only at the 7th-level Divine Lord realm, so they could definitely attack. Attack! Ao Yin shouted softly, and the 4 of them rushed towards the Ziming Mountain. Who is it? As soon as Lu Ming and the others rushed out, their power caused a fluctuation, and they were immediately discovered by the 2 monstrous geniuses of the Ziying clan. Their figures rushed into the sky, and purple lightning burst out of their eyes as they scanned Lu Ming and the others. It's them? It's Lu Ming and the 9-clawed dragon. How dare they take the initiative to attack us? Not only were the 2 monstrous geniuses of the Ziying clan fearless, but they also looked excited. They turned into 2 purple lights and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Their bodies were completely covered by purple divine light, and their strongest attacks, such as their origin source secret technique, were all unleashed. One of the monstrous geniuses of the Ziying clan directly attacked Lu Ming. His palm was like a knife, and it slashed towards Lu Ming. There was a wisp of purple chi in his palm. This was his origin source secret technique and it was extremely terrifying. Boom. Lu Ming still couldn't use his divine power, so his attack was still very direct. He directly punched out. Boom. Lu Ming's fist collided with the palm of the monstrous genius of the Ziying clan, and there was a violent explosion. At the same time there were sounds of bones breaking and then a figure retreated. It was the Ziying clan's genius and Lu Ming's figure only swayed a little. The Ziying clan, ranked 99th on the list of 10,000 primitive races, is indeed powerful. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Now, his control of the forbidden power was stronger, and the power that he could unleash was also stronger. His battle strength was also stronger than half a year ago. Half a year ago, he could already kill a 7th-level Divine Lord from the two-headed wolf clan with his bare hands. Although the monstrous genius of the Ziying clan in front of him was also a 7th-level Divine Lord, his battle strength was stronger than the two-headed wolf clans. Indeed, the higher the rank of a race on the list of 10,000 primitive races, the stronger their bloodline power, and the stronger their battle strength in a battle of the same level. Of course, this was the average level and there was no lack of exceptions. The Ziying clan's genius was even more shocked when his hand was broken by Lu Ming's punch, and there was disbelief in his eyes. In his eyes, Lu Ming was just a 3rd-level Divine Lord. Kill! Lu Ming yelled and dashed out, charging toward the prodigy of the Ziying clan. At the same time, there was a dragon roar as Ao Guan rushed over to assist Lu Ming. After Ao Guan broke through to the 4th-level Divine Lord, his battle strength increased greatly. Although he might not be a match for the Ziying clan's genius in a one-on-one fight, he could still pose a great threat to his opponent. The 9 dragon claws kept clawing at the Ziying clan's genius. The genius waved his palm continuously, and purple light burst out, blocking Ao Guan's attack. But in this way he put himself in a dead end. Lu Ming punched continuously and in an instant dozens of punches were thrown out. Dozens of terrifying fist forces crushed toward the genius of the Ziying clan like a storm. The Ziying clan's genius roared, and his purple hair danced wildly. Divine light burst out as he resisted with all his strength. However, he was still no match. He could only block a portion of the fist forces, and the rest of the fist forces bombarded his body, almost causing him to explode. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his body cracked. In the end, Lu Ming punched through his glabella, obliterating his soul and killing him completely. On the other side, Ao Yen and Ao Qing joined forces to finish the battle. The other genius of the Ziying clan was also very strong, not weaker than the one who fought with Lu Ming. But now that Ao Yan's cultivation was at the 5th-level Divine Lord realm, she could completely crush her opponent. With Ao Qing they quickly killed this person. This trip was very easy. Chapter 3674. Haha, awesome. Ao Guan laughed loudly. Previously, through the surveillance array, he had seen the 2 monsters from the Ziying race killing the dragon humans. Ao Guan had long wanted to kill them. Now that he had successfully killed them, Ao Guan felt extremely carefree. Lu Ming, did you record the scene just now with the illusory divine jade? Then Ao Guan looked at Lu Ming again. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. Haha, great. Ao Guan laughed loudly. Then Lu Ming sent the scene of the battle to the illusory divine space. This was their powerful counterattack to the various races. If anyone wanted to deal with them and kill the dragon humans, they would have to face their revenge. It's Lu Ming, that kid. Damn it, is he threatening us? Where is he? It seems to be in the Dragon Spirit continent. Let's go and kill them. The monsters from various races were furious and rushed to Purple Bright Mountain from various places. Of course, Lu Ming and the others would not be so stupid to stay at Purple Bright Mountain and wait for others to kill them. After Lu Ming sent the video to the illusory divine space, they left Purple Bright Mountain and came to a secret place. The dragon race's mother planet was the home of Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others. They knew many secret places and it was too easy to find a place to hide. After hiding, they would use the surveillance array to monitor the various places. Sure enough, not long after, a large number of monsters gathered at Purple Bright Mountain. However, they naturally did not find anything. They searched the area around Purple Bright Mountain but could not find Lu Ming and the others. They could only leave dejectedly. Lu Ming and the others continued to look for targets that they could attack. 7 days later they found their targets again. The other party also had 2 7th-level Divine Lord monstrous Heavens Chosen, plus some Heavens Chosen below 5th-level Divine Lord. Those 5th-level Divine Lords and below were naturally left behind by those who had entered before. In the end, more than 10 of them were wiped out by Lu Ming and the others. The video was sent to the illusory divine space and caused a commotion. However, when these people reached their destination, Lu Ming and the others had already left. Damn it, you can only be a coward and sneak attack in the dark. Despicable and shameless. Don't let me find you or I'll grind your bones to dust. Many people roared in the dream realm and even took videos to provoke Lu Ming and the others. However, Lu Ming and the others couldn't be bothered. They had already secretly returned to Penglai Island. This time he had killed a few of the other party's prodigies in a row. It was a powerful counterattack. However, with their current strength, it was not appropriate for them to clash head-on with the other party. Encountering a 7th or 8th level Divine Lord was still fine. But if he encountered a 9th level Divine Lord or a Quasi-Emperor, then it would be dangerous. Furthermore, if Xiaoqun ran into someone ranked very high, such as someone ranked in the top 10 of the Great Desolate Eon's 10,000 races, he would be in danger. Of course, Lu Ming and the others already knew that the top 10 races of the Desolate 10,000 races board would not be able to enter. To them this was a blessing in disguise. Now they could only continue to cultivate and increase their strength. Only then would they be able to contend against these people. After returning to Penglai Island, they continued to cultivate while paying attention to the situation outside. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, another half a year had passed. At this time, Lu Ming felt that he had complete control of the taboo power. Any casual attack could erupt with terrifying power. At the same time, Lu Ming could already use all kinds of divine power. However, Lu Ming discovered a major problem. That was, his divine power could not be increased. When he could control his divine power, he was prepared to refine the divine medicine to increase his cultivation. However, when he refined the divine medicine, the energy of the divine medicine spread to every part of his body, scattering into every cell. To be more precise, there was a strong attractive force in each of his cells that absorbed the medicinal power. None of it was distributed to his divine power. Lu Ming tried more than 10 times and refined more than 10 divine medicines, but the result was the same. Lu Ming finally gave up. No way could it be that my cultivation can't be increased in the future? Will I forever stay at the 3rd level of the Divine Lord realm? Lu Ming wailed. This was a major blow to him. Could it be that I have to cultivate the taboo power in the future? The problem is, how do I cultivate the taboo power? Lu Ming sighed. Although he felt that he had complete control of the taboo power now, allowing his combat strength to increase again, he did not know how to increase the taboo power at all. He asked Guillemot this question, but Guillemot also did not know. Lu Ming was speechless. 2 dragon roars came from afar. Ao Guan and Ao Cheng broke through again. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Ao Guan and Ao Cheng broke through consecutively. Their cultivation had already reached the 5th level of the Divine Lord realm. Ao Yin had not broken through yet and was still at the 5th level of the Divine Lord realm. However, she had already reached the peak of the 5th level of the Divine Lord realm. He believed that it would not be long before she could break through too. This speed could be said to be shocking. Lu Ming flew over and discovered 2 9-clawed dragons flying in the sky. Not long after, they transformed into human form. Haha, Lu Ming, how is your cultivation? Ao Guan laughed. It's SOSO. Lu Ming sighed. Seeing Ao Guan and the rest break through, he was extremely envious. Come, let's go find Princess and see the situation outside. Ao Guan smiled and headed towards the center of Penglai Island with Lu Ming and Ao Cheng. That was where Ao Yen was in seclusion. When they found Ao Yen, they saw that Ao Yan's expression was somewhat ugly. It was even filled with killing intent. Ao Guan and the rest's hearts sank. Princess, what's wrong? Ao Guan asked. Look. After Ao Yen finished speaking, she waved her hands and an image appeared in the air. On a mountain peak, a large group of dragon men were tied up and kneeling on the ground. The number was shocking. There were at least tens of thousands of them. There was even a huge 8-clawed divine dragon lying on the ground powerlessly. On the side, there were some monstrous geniuses from various races who were staring coldly at these dragon men. I'll repeat myself. I know that you have set up surveillance arrays everywhere and can see the situation here. Even if you can't, it doesn't matter. We'll send it to the illusory space. Now, Lu Ming and your 9-clawed dragon, get over here obediently. Otherwise I'll kill a dragon man every minute. A young man in a golden robe said coldly. After he finished speaking, he clenched his fist and grabbed a dragon man girl. No, don't. The dragon man girl was horrified. She kept struggling as tears flowed down her face. However, the young man in the golden robe's eyes were cold. Now 1 minute is up. Kill. The young man in the golden robe shouted coldly. With a squeeze of his dragon power, the dragon man girl was killed. Damn bastards. Ao Guan roared furiously. Killing a person every minute? How many dragon men had these people killed? It was obvious that the other party wanted to use this method to force them out. Chapter 3675. Winged Men. Lu Ming muttered with a cold look in his eyes. The golden rogue youth had a pair of golden wings on his back. He was clearly a monstrous genius of the winged men. A golden winged man. He had also entered when the Lord of Heaven tore the 10,000 dragon seal. He was definitely powerful. He wanted to use this method to force Lu Ming and the others to show themselves. Lu Ming, look at the illusory heavenly jade. Ao Guan faced Lu Ming. Lu Ming's glabella shone and the illusory heavenly jade appeared. Then Lu Ming saw some videos that were posted by those people just now. With a thought, the videos appeared in the air for everyone to see. It was similar to before. These people were clamoring to kill the dragon men at the same time. You can continue to hide. I'll give you 3 days. If you don't show up in 3 days, I'll kill this 8-clawed divine dragon, drink its blood and roast its meat. An 8-clawed divine dragon. Its meat must be delicious. Its blood is also very nutritious. Haha, remember, my name is Wuxia. In the last video, the monster from the Winged Men clan laughed heartily. Damn it, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to kill this bastard. Ao Guan was furious. His eyes were red. Don't be rash. They're obviously trying to force us out. There must be a trap there. They want to catch us all in one fell swoop. Ao Yen stopped Ao Guan. Although she was also very angry, she did not lose her mind. Then what should we do? Do we just watch these bastards kill the dragon men and eat the flesh of our dragon race? I can't stand it. At most I'll die. It's better than this. Ao Guan roared in anger. We need to think about this at length. Ao Yen said with a frown. It's not completely impossible to kill our way out. At this time Lu Ming spoke. Brother Lu, do you have a good plan? Ao Yen's eyes lit up. They must have set up traps in the vicinity of that mountain peak. For example, slaughtering formations and the like. Thus, even if we are to fight, we cannot fight on that mountain peak. Furthermore, before we act, we must ascertain our opponent's cultivation. If there's an opponent we can't fight against, then we'll only be sending ourselves to our deaths. We won't be of any use. Lu Ming said. Then how do we lure them away? How do we know their cultivation basis? Lu Ming, don't hide it anymore. Just tell me. You're making me uncomfortable. Ao Guan said somewhat anxiously. Simple, we will set up an ambush near that mountain peak, then I will lure them out. Lu Ming said. It's too dangerous for you to lure them. Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others' expressions changed. Don't worry. Now that I have complete control over that strand of energy, I can use the secret techniques of the origin source. Coupled with that energy, my speed is extremely fast. Even if they have quasi-emperors, I'm confident that I can escape. Right now, the Heavenly Palace's target is me. As long as they can take me down, they can become the Heavenly Prince or Heavenly Daughter. This is an extremely huge temptation. Thus, as long as I appear, they will definitely chase after me. This way, we can lure them out of that mountain peak and at the same time, see their cultivation bases. Lu Ming said. Ao Yen and the others pondered. They wouldn't be in danger if they did that, but it would be a huge crisis for Lu Ming. If the other party had someone who specialized in speed, then it would be troublesome. How can we not fight? If this continues, we'll be too passive. We must kill them until they're terrified. Only then will they restrain themselves. Lu Ming said with a cold glint in his eyes. All right, let's do it. Ao Guan shouted. In the end, Ao Yen and Ao Cheng also nodded in agreement. Just like last time, the 4 8-clawed divine dragons stayed on Penglai Island. Although they also wanted to participate in the battle, Ao Yan's attitude was firm. The 4 8-clawed divine dragon's strength was still a bit weak. The 8-clawed divine dragon seemed very close to the 9-clawed dragon, but their talent and bloodlines were very different. In a battle of the same level, the difference between an 8-clawed divine dragon and a 9-clawed dragon was very large. After discussing, they set off. Wuxia and the others had already sent out the location. They were afraid that Lu Ming and the others wouldn't go. Their destination was the Wind God Mountain Range. Thus, they used their fastest speed to head towards the Wind God Mountain Range. In just 2.5 days they arrived near the Wind God Mountain Range. Then Ao Yen, Ao Cheng and Ao Guan found a secret place to hide. As for Lu Ming, he was responsible for luring Wuxia and the others. Brother Lu, be careful. Ao Yen and the others were a bit worried. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled and then headed towards the Wind God Mountain Range. On the highest peak of the Wind God Mountain Range, Wuxia and the others were on this peak. It seems Lu Ming and those cowards don't dare to come. Let's see how long they can hide. If they don't appear for a day, I'll kill them for a day. If they don't appear for a year, I'll kill them for a year. Wuxia sneered. His eyes were filled with brutal killing intent as well as burning greed. Yes, greed. As long as he killed Lu Ming and handed over Lu Ming's corpse to the Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven, he would become the Son of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace. In addition, the Golden Winged Race's supreme expert had promised him a huge reward. As long as he could take down Lu Ming, he would soar. In the future, it wouldn't be impossible for him to become one of the overlords of the desolate universe. When he thought of that, his heart burned with passion. Bang! Wuxia casually killed a dragon man and roared, "Lu Ming, hurry up and come out. I can't wait any longer." At this moment, an excited shout was heard. Lu Ming is here." Someone shouted. Wuxia's gaze quickly turned to the front. In the distant sky, a young figure was walking over. This person was, of course, Lu Ming. "He's here, he's really here. That's great." Wuxia was trembling with excitement. Then he glanced at the others on the peak. This time he wasn't the only one who had set this trap. There were also other monstrous geniuses of the other races. Now that Lu Ming was here, these people would become his competitors. He was thinking rapidly about how he could take credit for Lu Ming's contribution later. But at this moment, Lu Ming stopped in the distance. He didn't continue to approach the peak. "Lu Ming, you're finally here. Haha, looks like you care a lot about these dragon men." Wuxia laughed. "I'm here. Let them go." Lu Ming said. "I can let them go, but you can come over and exchange people for them. Also, get those 9-clawed dragon to come over and we'll let them go." Wuxia sneered. "Let them go first," Lu Ming said. "Lu Ming, you don't have the right to negotiate with us. Come over first and we'll let them go. Otherwise, I'll kill all these dragon men." Wuxia shouted. Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. It was obvious that there was a trap there. Asking Lu Ming to go over? Was he that stupid? Bang. Lu Ming stepped on the void, but instead of moving forward, he moved backward. Chapter 3676. Lu Ming retreated 1,000 meters with each step. In an instant he had retreated 100 miles. Wuxia's expression changed as he roared, "Lu Ming, you still dare to retreat? Do you want these people to die? Let them go first. Otherwise goodbye." Lu Ming said indifferently and continued to retreat. He was very decisive. Clearly, if Wuxia and the others didn't let them go, Lu Ming would retreat. "Damn it! Damn bastard!" Wuxia and the other monstrous geniuses roared in their hearts. Lu Ming's actions had exceeded their expectations. They had originally thought that since Lu Ming had appeared, he definitely cared about the dragon humans. They could use the dragon humans to threaten Lu Ming and make Lu Ming fall into their trap. That way it would be easy to take down Lu Ming. But they hadn't expected that Lu Ming wouldn't care about the lives of the dragon humans and would immediately retreat. They had waited so long for Lu Ming to appear. How could they just watch as Lu Ming retreated? Even if they couldn't use the trap, they still had to take down Lu Ming. "Chase, we can't let him go." Furious roars rang out as the monstrous geniuses present rapidly chased after Lu Ming. "So they've really chased after me?" Lu Ming sneered. This scene was within his expectations. The Heavenly Palace had offered such a high reward. These people definitely wouldn't give up on him. As long as he appeared, these people would chase after him no matter what. Therefore Lu Ming wouldn't be threatened by them. Instead they would be led by him. Wuxia was also a golden-winged person. His entire body emitted a golden light as his wings flapped rapidly. His speed was shocking as he chased after Lu Ming like a phantom. 8th-level Divine Monarch Wuxia chased after him with all his strength. Naturally his aura spread out. This was an 8th-level Divine Monarch. Lu Ming didn't dare to be careless. An 8th-level Divine Lord was much stronger than a 7th-level Divine Lord. At the same time, Lu Ming also sensed the auras of other monstrous geniuses. There were a total of 9 people chasing after him. Among them there was one whose aura was the same as Wuxia, also being an 8th-level Divine Lord. The other 7 were all 7th-level Divine Lords. The 9 monstrous Sky Prides unleashed their maximum speed and chased after Lu Ming. Especially Wuxia and the other 8th-level Divine Lord youth, their speed was the fastest, closing the distance with Lu Ming at lightning speed. "Brat, you can't run." Winged Evil roared savagely. "Really?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. Beneath his feet, the Wind Destroyer boots appeared. With the Wind Destroyer boots on his feet, his speed skyrocketed. At the same time, Lu Ming vibrated his muscles and bones. A surge of energy gushed out from every cell of his body, propelling him forward. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's speed skyrocketed, surpassing Wuxia and the other 8th-level Divine Lord youth. The distance between them was widening. "Damn it!" Wuxia roared angrily, killing intent surging to the sky as he chased after Lu Ming with all his might. His cultivation is only 3rd level Divine Lord. Even if his speed is fast, he can't last for long either. The other youth said. They did not give up and kept following behind Lu Ming. Very soon, Lu Ming brought Wuxia and the rest and was about to arrive at the place where Ao Yen and the rest were lying in ambush. Only 2 8th level Divine Lords. The rest are 7th level Divine Lords. I can fight. Lu Ming's mind whirled rapidly. Presently Ao Cheng and Ao Guan had both successfully broken through to 5th level Divine Lord. Their combat strength skyrocketed, enough to kill a prodigy like the two-headed wolf race back then. And Ao Yan's cultivation was also about to break through to 6th level Divine Lord. Her strength was even more astonishing, enough to battle 8th level Divine Lord monstrous geniuses. And Lu Ming already completely grasped the taboo power. His combat strength also skyrocketed. He was confident that he could defeat that Wuxia. Therefore, facing these people they could fight. If they ambushed, they might be able to take down the other party. Hence, Lu Ming immediately transmitted to Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and Ao Cheng 3 people, telling them that they could take action. After Lu Ming lured the people to their ambush place, they could take action and ambush. Ao Yen 3 people responded very quickly. After planning it out, Lu Ming flew toward the place where Ao Yen 3 people were lying in ambush. Lu Ming flew past the mountain peak where Ao Yen 3 people were lying in ambush. Immediately after, Wuxia as well as that 8th level Divine Lord youth also flew over. Ao Yen 3 people did not take action. They were waiting for those 7th level Divine Lord monstrous geniuses. Several breaths, the 7th level Divine Lord monstrous geniuses flew above the heads of Ao Yen and the rest. Do it. At this time, Ao Yen 3 people made their move. They transformed into dragon forms, 9 claws stepping on the air, pouncing out like lightning, their speed swift to the extreme. One person dealing with one. Ao Yen 3 people, each one's combat strength was above the other party's. Plus it was a sneak attack. A moment of carelessness and the other party was directly hit. 3 consecutive miserable screams. 3 of the youths had their bodies torn apart by Ao Yen 3 people. Dragon roars shook the sky. Their souls were annihilated. 3 7th level Divine Lord monstrous geniuses directly perished. Not good, there's an ambush. How many of them are there? Suddenly suffering an ambush, the other party's heart was somewhat flustered. He roared repeatedly and even hurriedly stopped, sweeping the surroundings with some alarm and fear. I'll leave the remaining few to you guys to deal with. Ao Yen warned Ao Guan and Ao Cheng. Her body twisted, pouncing toward the 2 8th level Divine Lord existences in front. At the same time, Lu Ming's rapidly flying body suddenly stopped. He retreated, charging toward Wuxia. Boom. A punch punched out. The void trembled. Fist force surged wildly, crushing toward Wuxia. Courting death. Wuxia was not alarmed but delighted instead. What he was afraid of was not Lu Ming taking action. What he was afraid of was that Lu Ming would not take action. Taking action was exactly what he wanted. Golden light flourished from his body. His fingers curled like an eagle's claw, grabbing at Lu Ming. Break for me. Wuxia's eyes were sinister and a cold smile appeared on his face. He wanted to crush Lu Ming's fist with his claw. He could already hear Lu Ming's miserable shriek. A moment later. Boom. Their attacks fiercely collided. It was like heavenly thunder rumbling, shaking the void. Then Wuxia's expression changed drastically. He clearly heard the sound of bones breaking. Then waves of intense pain came from his claw. Shwa. Wuxia's body retreated explosively. His claws were already completely deformed. 5 of his fingers were already broken. How is this possible? Wuxia found it hard to believe. It was very clear just how hard his claw was. Even if it was a peak monarch-grade divine weapon, he could crush it with a single claw. But when he grabbed Lu Ming's fist, not only did he fail to crush Lu Ming's fist, but Lu Ming's berserk strength had broken his fingers instead. His arm was trembling slightly. Even his arm had nearly broken. How can a 3rd level Divine Lord be so powerful? That's right, it must be the function of that mysterious energy. Wuxia's thoughts rapidly turned and he thought of that taboo energy. Of course, he didn't know that that energy was called taboo energy. That was because the Heavenly Palace hadn't made it public. Chapter 3677. Winged Evil was envious to death. I'm going to slaughter this brat and strip away that wisp of power within his body. Winged Evil roared, his killing intent even colder. But he had yet to make a move when Lu Ming already rushed over toward him. Lu Ming took a step out, his figure rushing toward winged evil explosively, both fists blasting out continuously. In an instant, there were over 100 fist seals crushing toward winged evil. At the same time, Ao Yen already charged over, clashing with another 8th level Divine Lord Youth. While Ao Guan and Ao Qing, two people, were in a fierce battle with the remaining 4 7th level Divine Lord existences. Kill? Winged evil roared, erupting with full power, casting his source secret art, fusing with his wings. His pair of wings were like 2 divine blades, cutting through the void, slashing toward Lu Ming. Da, da, da. In an instant, Lu Ming's fists collided with winged evil's wings several dozen times in succession. In the end, Lu Ming was a notch stronger. Every one of his cells was fused with taboo power, indestructible, with boundless strength, beating winged evil until he repeatedly retreated. How is this possible? Some people roared angrily, seriously, incomparably shocked. Lu Ming looked like he was just a 3rd level Divine Lord. His combat strength was actually powerful to such an extent. It must be that wisp of power, it must be. Some people's hearts burned even more fervently, wishing that they could take Lu Ming's power for themselves. However, Lu Ming naturally would not give him such a chance. His attacks were like a storm, continuously charging toward winged evil. The Winged Men race was ranked 130 on the Great Desolate 10,000 Races list. Their bloodline talent was even inferior to the top 100 races. Although he had 8th level Divine Lord Cultivation, it was not that kind of especially heaven-defying. They were not like Lu Ming, who was a freak who could ignore the talents of different races. Hence, he was suppressed by Lu Ming for a moment. After the two people exchanged over 100 moves, some people felt intense pain in their palms and wings, the bones on them being cracked. In a head-on confrontation, he was not Lu Ming's match. Damn it! Winged evil roared loudly in his heart, giving rise to thoughts of retreating. But how could Lu Ming allow him to retreat? Kill? Lu Ming let out a long howl. The hegemon spear appeared in his right hand, while his left hand grabbed the Sovereign's Gate. He swung it wildly at Wraith. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, the Tyrant God Spear and the Gate of Gods did not pose much of a threat to winged evil. However, it was different when Lu Ming held it in his hands. Every strike contained the power of a taboo. Boundless power was applied to the Overlord God's Spear and the Gate of Domination. It was even stronger than Lu Ming's bare hands. Wuxia was even less of a match. After a few moves, Wuxia's arm broke and exploded with a bang. Blood and flesh flew everywhere. His pair of golden wings were also cracked and golden feathers were flying everywhere. Winged evil frantically retreated, wanting to avoid the attack. However, due to his injuries, especially his golden wings, his speed was greatly reduced. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and pierced his body with his spear. The Tyrant God's Spear vibrated, forming a terrifying shockwave that attacked Wuxia's body. Bang bang bang. Wuxia's body constantly emitted explosive sounds. This time Wuxia was heavily injured. Save me, quickly save me! Wuxia roared at the others. The other 8th level Divine Lord Youth was incomparably powerful. He was from one of the top 100 races of the Primordial Wasteland's 10,000 races. He was also an 8th level Divine Lord, but his strength was above Wuxia's. Ao Yen was actually not his match. However, how could Ao Yen allow him to save Wuxia? Ao Yen used her full strength, not caring about whether or not she would be injured. She crazily charged at him, firmly entangling him. That made it difficult for him to help for a moment. As for Lu Ming's attacks, they were even more berserk. Wuxia retreated, but Lu Ming raised the Gate of Gods and smashed it down, smashing it into Wuxia. Wuxia let out a miserable cry as he was sent flying. Half his body exploded. I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming took a step forward and arrived beside Wuxia. The Tyrant God's Spear was as large as a mountain. No, my winged race's big shot is outside. You can't kill me. Wuxia roared in terror. I don't even care about the Lord of Heaven in the Heavenly Palace. Why would I care about a birdman? Die for me. Lu Ming shouted coldly, his attacks not stopping. This time Wuxia was no longer able to resist. When the Tyrant God's Spear smashed down, Wuxia's body exploded, his body and soul annihilated. He completely perished. The winged race had another monstrous heavenly genius die at Lu Ming's hands. After killing Wuxia, Lu Ming's gaze swept over the battlefield. Ao Guan and Ao Cheng were both 5th level Divine Lords. Their combat power was powerful. Facing 4 7th level Divine Lords, they already occupied the upper hand. However, Ao Yen was at a disadvantage. Lu Ming directly charged at Ao Yen, planning on helping Ao Yen kill that 8th level Divine Lord Youth first. When that 8th level Divine Lord youth saw Lu Ming charge over, his expression changed. Lu Ming killing Wuxia just now, he had seen it with his own eyes. His strength was shockingly powerful. Although his own combat power was above Wuxia's, he still could not kill Wuxia. For Lu Ming to be able to kill Wuxia, his combat power was above his. Adding in the Ao Yen whose strength was not weak, the two of them joining hands to attack him. Everything pointed to disaster. Also, the other 4 heavenly geniuses were also at a disadvantage. If this continued, they would be completely annihilated. Retreat. The 8th level Divine Lord youth made his decision. Then he fiercely attacked with a move attacking Ao Yen. Ao Yen was originally at a disadvantage, being continuously pushed back by the other party's full power attack. Taking advantage of this opportunity, that 8th level Divine Lord youth's figure rapidly retreated. Don't think of leaving. Lu Ming rushed over and threw the Tyrant God Spear out. Swoosh. The Tyrant God Spear was like a bolt of lightning, attacking the other party. But it was blocked by the other party. Furthermore, the other party even borrowed the Tyrant God Spear's power to retreat at an even faster speed. Lu Ming rapidly followed, not wanting to let the other party off. The two people, one chasing and one fleeing, traveled 100 miles in an instant. An exalted 8th level Divine Lord being chased around by a 3rd level Divine Lord person. Truly embarrassing enough. Right at this time, a mocking voice came from not far away. This voice was very clearly aimed at that 8th level Divine Lord youth. Lu Ming's gaze swept over and discovered that a youth appeared not far away. This youth was dressed in alternating black and white robes. His face was like jade and he was very handsome, looking virtually the same as a human. It's you. When the 8th level Divine Lord youth saw the black-robed youth, his expression changed, seemingly very wary. But instinctively he heaved a sigh of relief. Instead, he flew toward the black-robed youth, landing beside the other party. Lu Ming also stopped in his tracks and squinted his eyes. This was because he instinctively sensed danger from this young man. After Lu Ming stopped, Ao Yen also rushed over, stopping beside Lu Ming. Inyang Xiangyu, why are you here? The 8th level Divine Lord youth asked, his tone very solemn, even reverent. I just happened to be nearby and saw you all provoking Lu Ming here, so I came to take a look. Looks like I didn't come too late. Inyang Xiangyu said, not looking at the other party from start to finish. His gaze had always landed on Lu Ming. Chapter 3678. Inyang Xiangyu's gaze landed on Lu Ming, his eyes burning with deep greed. To him, Lu Ming represented the position of Son of Heaven, represented a limitless future. Since I'm here, leave them to me. Inyang Xiangyu opened his mouth and then took a step out. Boom. A powerful aura surged to the sky. 7th level Divine Lord. The moment Inyang Xiangyu's aura erupted, Lu Ming and Ao Yen sensed that the other party's cultivation was a 7th level Divine Lord. However, Lu Ming and Ao Yen did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. That 8th level Divine Lord youth was clearly very respectful of Inyang Xiangyu. Clearly, the other party's strength could not be judged by cultivation. This time, many monstrous geniuses entered. It was possible to encounter any kind of person. Even if they encountered someone who could fight with them at the same level, it was also not impossible. Swish. Suddenly Inyang Xiangyu moved. His figure flashed and in the next instant he appeared in front of Lu Ming and Ao Yen. A snow-white long sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed at Lu Ming and Ao Yen. After slashing out, the sword light split into two, slashing at Lu Ming and Ao Yen respectively. Divine Dragon Slash. Ao Yen shouted coldly. The dragon horn on her head was shining, bursting forth with a resplendent divine light, slashing at the other party. As for Lu Ming, he brandished the Tyrant God Spear, blasting it at the other party. Boom. Boom. 2 consecutive booms came over. Lu Ming felt an incomparably powerful force surge toward him. His body trembled slightly and he involuntarily retreated 2 steps. Ao Yen was the same, her 9 dragon claws retreating a few steps. What powerful strength! Lu Ming was shocked in his heart. Just one move, and Lu Ming knew that he had encountered a terrifying monster. This Inyang Xiangyu's combat strength was shockingly strong. Although his cultivation was only at the 7th level Divine Lord realm, his combat strength was much stronger than that 8th level Divine Lord youth. The Tyrant God Spear in Lu Ming's hand was constantly vibrating. A crack even appeared on it. To be able to block one of my moves, you have some strength. Looks like if I don't use my true strength, I won't be able to take you down in a short time. Inyang Xiangyu was slightly surprised. He was surprised that Lu Ming and his companion were able to block his attack. In the next instant, A sword also appeared in his left hand. It was a pitch-black longsword, the complete opposite of the snow-white longsword in his right hand. Boom. His aura became even more violent. Two types of divine power circulated around him. One was black, the other was white. They intertwined with each other. Two types of God force, an ancient cultivation technique. No, that's yin and yang energy. He's a genius from the yin-yang race. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. The yin-yang race was one of the top races in the primitive universe. It ranked 16th on the primitive 10,000 races list. Any race that could be listed on the primitive 10,000 races list was definitely a big race. They were the overlords of the primitive universe, let alone the 16th place. It was said that the yin-yang race was born with the ability to control both yin and yang divine powers. They were much stronger than others. Moreover, the yin-yang divine powers could give birth to special origin secret arts with astonishing offensive power. Any member of the yin-yang race could easily crush those weaker races at the same level. Moreover, Jianghu was a genius of the yin-yang race. His strength was even more terrifying. Yin-yang kill. Jianghu's cold voice came from his mouth. Then he slashed out with his black and white swords. Sword light burst out like a storm, sweeping toward Lu Ming and Ao Yen. Block! Lu Ming roared. He put away the Gate of Gods and the Tyrant God's spear and focused on controlling his forbidden power. Every cell in his body emitted a burst of power. This power gathered on Lu Ming's fists. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming punched out with both fists. In an instant he had sent out hundreds of punches. Hundreds of punches shot toward the black and white swords. At the same time, Ao Yen also unleashed her full power. Her dragon claws stepped on the air, unleashing a terrifying attack. A huge explosion occurred in the air. Divine light soared into the sky. In just a few breaths' time, two figures were crazily retreating. They were Lu Ming and Ao Yen. The two of them retreated over 10,000 miles before stopping. Both of them had new sword wounds on their bodies. Ao Yen's scales had been cut open, and there were at least a dozen sword wounds on her body. Blood was flowing. Her injuries were very serious. As for Lu Ming, he wasn't much better off. He also had over a dozen sword wounds that had almost cut him to pieces. But what surprised Lu Ming was that his injuries were rapidly healing. Even his opponent's yin-yang divine powers couldn't stop his wounds from healing. The forbidden power didn't just have powerful offensive power, it also had powerful recovery abilities. What power? Lu Ming's expression was incomparably grave. This yin-yang soaring universe was too strong. Even if Lu Ming and Ao Yen joined forces, they were still not the other party's match. If they were fighting on the same level, Lu Ming had full confidence that he could easily suppress the other party. But when the other party's cultivation was several levels higher, their strength completely crushed him. This is troublesome. Looks like I really can't underestimate the heroes of the world. Lu Ming sighed softly in his heart. Some time ago, Lu Ming and them had taken action several times. Those 7th-level Divine Lord monstrous geniuses were all easily killed by them. This made Lu Ming and them somewhat overconfident, somewhat underestimating the various races' heavenly geniuses. Previously, it was just that they hadn't encountered overly terrifying monstrous geniuses. But that didn't mean that there weren't any. Swish! Yin-yang soaring universe's figure flashed, continuing to charge toward Lu Ming and Ao Yen. Surging sword light swept toward the two of them. Its speed was extremely shocking, covering tens of thousands of miles. Lu Ming and Ao Yen joined forces. But after exchanging blows, their injuries became even more severe. Lu Ming was still fine. His recovery ability was astonishing, but Ao Yan's aura was weak. If this continued, she wouldn't be far from death. Haha, this Lu Ming and the 9-clawed dragon are dead for sure. Unfortunately, I didn't kill them. That 8th-level Divine Lord youth laughed inside. But unfortunately, he wasn't the one who killed them, so the reward wouldn't go to him. He glanced enviously at Yin-yang soaring universe. Then his gaze turned to Ao Guan and Ao Cheng, revealing a greedy gaze. Ao Guan and Ao Cheng were also 9-clawed dragons. Although he couldn't kill Lu Ming and become the son of heaven, killing the 9-clawed dragon would also give him a great reward. He immediately charged toward Ao Guan and Ao Cheng. With this person joining in, Ao Guan and Ao Cheng also fell into a disadvantage. This situation was very passive for Lu Ming and the others. They had fallen into a dangerous situation. Let's see how many of my moves you can block. Today's outcome is already decided. Lu Ming, I will trample over you to reach the peak and become the son of heaven. Yin-yang soaring universe was in high spirits. Yin-yang divine energy revolved around him, and his sword intense soared. He seemed to have transformed into two black sword lights that tore through the air. His speed was astonishing and he instantly arrived in front of the two of them. Chapter 3679. Yin-Yang Soaring Universe instantly arrived in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming did his best to block but he was forced back. An even more terrifying sword light swept towards Ao Yen. Yin-Yang Soaring Universe naturally saw that Lu Ming was harder to deal with, while Ao Yen was easier to deal with. He wanted to kill Ao Yen first before dealing with Lu Ming. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. Ao Yen was already heavily injured and couldn't block her opponent's attack. She would be killed. But it was already too late for him to save her. Fight. Ao Yen's eyes were ruthless. She planned to fight with her life on the line. Even if she died, she wanted to injure Yin-Yang Soaring Universe so that Lu Ming, Ao Guan, and Ao Qing could escape. She was just about to burn her divine power. Suddenly, a strange energy enveloped her, making it hard for her to move. What's going on? This is space-time energy. Ao Yen was shocked. Then she realized that the space around her started to ripple like water. In the next moment, Ao Yan's figure disappeared from where she was standing. The Yin-Yang Soaring Universe's attack hit empty air. Space-time energy. Space-time spirit mouse. Yin-Yang Soaring Universe let out a startled cry. He looked around and saw Ao Yan's figure appear 100 miles away. Ripples arose in space by Ao Yan's side, and then the figure of a young woman floated up into appearance. She looked to be 12 or 13 years old. She was incomparably cute and her large eyes were blinking. Seeing this young girl, Lu Ming's body shook. His eyes were filled with joy. That was because Lu Ming was too familiar with this young girl. Although she had grown up a lot, Lu Ming still recognized her at a glance. Bubble? Lu Ming called out. That's right, this young girl was Bubble, who had been taken away by Senior Spacetime Spirit Mouse. After so many years, Bubble had grown up a lot. She was slender and elegant. Big brother Lu Ming, long time no see. Bubble smiled faintly. Her big eyes were also filled with pleasant surprise. You know the Spacetime Spirit Mouse? This Lu Ming is someone the Lord Heaven wants. You have to help him. Yin-Yang Xiangyu said. He could already tell that Lu Ming and Bubbles knew each other. His expression was solemn. That was because the Spacetime Spirit Rats were too terrifying. The atavistic Spacetime Spirit Rats could open wormholes. Therefore, the Spacetime Spirit Rats were on good terms with all the major races in the universe. Most importantly, the Spacetime Spirit Mouse ranked even higher than the Yin-Yang race on the primordial 10,000 races roll. That's right, I naturally have to help my big brother Lu Ming. Bubbles blinked her big eyes. She took a step forward and appeared next to Lu Ming. She hugged Lu Ming's arm and rubbed her head against it. Long time no see. You've grown up. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles as he rubbed Bubbles' head. The Spacetime Spirit Mouse was indeed powerful. Back in the Lesser Kiliacosm, it could control spacetime. Now that it was in the primitive universe, it could still control spacetime. That's a gift. Seeing this, Yin-Yang Xiangyu's expression completely darkened. He knew that with the Spacetime Spirit Mouse around, it was almost impossible for him to kill Lu Ming. Friend of the Spacetime Spirit Mouse, you have to know that Lu Ming is someone the Heavenly Palace wants. If you help him, you'll offend the Heavenly Palace. Offending the Heavenly Palace is something that even your race can't bear. Yin-Yang Xiangyu said coldly. As long as you can't tell anyone, who will know that I helped big brother Lu Ming? Bubbles blinked her big eyes and said with an innocent look on her face. You want to kill me? Yin-Yang Xiangyu's expression changed. Then he revealed cold killing intent. The Spacetime Spirit Mouse is powerful, but the Yin-Yang race isn't weak either. You and I are at the same level. It won't be that easy for you to kill me. Is that so? Bubbles smiled. In the next moment, she directly charged out and pressed her hands against the void. Space shook like water, then folded and squeezed, trapping Yin-Yang Xiangyu in the middle. 7th level Divine Monarch, this was Bubbles' cultivation base. It was much higher than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming sighed. A peak race was truly a peak race. They probably had a shocking amount of resources. Lu Ming's cultivation speed was already very fast, but compared to Bubble, the difference was clear. Bubble's powerful spacetime energy caused Yin-Yang Xiangyu's expression to become extremely grave. Yin-Yang Whirlwind Slash. Yin-Yang Xiangyu roared and continued to spin. Sword Chi crazily spun, turning into a whirlwind that crazily cut through spacetime energy. Yin-Yang Xiangyu didn't dare to be careless against Bubble. He erupted with his full strength, and his attack was even stronger than when he was fighting Lu Ming and Ao Yen. Zzz, an ear-piercing sound echoed throughout the sky. Yin-Yang Xiangyu's attack collided with Bubble's attack several hundred times. It had to be said that Yin Yang Xiangyu was truly powerful. He actually managed to block Bubble's space-time energy. Yin Yang fusion. Yin Yang Xiangyu bellowed and the Yin and Yang energies merged into one. The black and white swords merged into one and an even more astonishing beam of sword light charged in a certain direction. It forcibly broke through the space-time power and escaped the area enveloped by the space-time power. Space-time spirit mouse race, just wait for the heavenly palace's fury. Yin Yang Xiangyu roared, but he didn't dare stop. He crazily flew into the distance. Chase him! Shouted Lu Ming. If he escaped, he would most likely implicate the space-time spirit mouse race. Lu Ming didn't want to implicate Bubble and the space-time spirit mouse race just because of him. Big brother Lu Ming, there's no need to rush. This fellow won't be able to escape. Bubble smiled. He had no intention of attacking, but he was very confident. At this moment, densely packed runes suddenly appeared in the void around the Yin-Yang soaring universe. Endless runes spread out and intertwined with each other, forming a huge array. Huge chains condensed and wrapped around Yin-Yang Xiangyu. With me here, you still think you can run? An arrogant voice rang out. Then a young man appeared outside the array. The youth looked to be in his 20s. He was very handsome, but his face was filled with a ruffian aura. Nestle Dandin also came. Lu Ming couldn't help but blurt out. That's right, this youth was the world's divine turtle, Dandin. Ah, Lu Ming, you're no good. Not to mention your cultivation base being weak, you can't even deal with this fellow. If we hadn't arrived in time, you would have died. Dandin laughed. What are you talking about? Hurry up and deal with this person. Lu Ming's expression immediately darkened. As expected, he was looked down upon by Dandin the moment they met. But there was no other way. Lu Ming could sense that Dandin's cultivation base was also at the 7th level Divine Lord realm, the same as Bubble. As expected, a big race is good. Lu Ming could only sigh. The world's divine turtle race was an extremely terrifying race on the desolate 10,000 races ranking. They were ranked 15th on the desolate 10,000 races ranking, second only to the Spacetime Spirit Mouse race and higher than the Yin-Yang race. Chapter 3680. The 14th ranked Spacetime Spirit Mouse controlled spacetime. The 15th ranked World Divine Turtle controlled array runes. They were both peak races in the primitive universe. Some people said that if it wasn't for the fact that the Spacetime Spirit Mouse and World Divine Turtle races were too few in number, they could even be ranked in the top 10. Could be said that any one of these two races was a genius, an elite. World Divine Turtle, you dare to go against the Heavenly Palace's decree and help this person. You're treacherous. Yin Yang Xiangyu roared. His sword light was like a rainbow, trying to break the chains formed by the array formation. But at this moment, Bubble reached out and pressed down. The space distorted and a powerful spacetime force crushed towards Yin Yang Xiangyu. Yin Yang Xiangyu's body stiffened. This opening was enough to decide his life and death. Kill? Dandin shouted coldly. Endless runes flashed and formed a battle sword. It flew out and pierced Yin Yang Xiangyu's forehead. Yin Yang Xiangyu roared. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. The sword light accurately pierced through Yin Yang Xiangyu's forehead. Yin Yang Xiangyu let out an unwilling roar. His eyes were wide open, filled with unwillingness. Then his body fell to the ground with a plop. There was no longer any trace of life in him. The 16th ranked Yin-Yang race's top monster had fallen. This scene scared the 8th level Divine Lord and the remaining 4 7th level Divine Lords out of their wits. They didn't dare to stay and wanted to escape. But how could they escape? The space around them distorted and a powerful spacetime force enveloped them. Then the space shattered like a mirror. The bodies of the 5 geniuses were shattered into pieces. They did not even have the chance to cry out before they died. With this, all the people who chased after them had died. Amazing! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Although Dandin and Bubble's cultivation were both 7th level Divine Lords, geniuses of the same level couldn't withstand a single blow from them. Even Yin Yang Xiangyu wasn't a match for Dandin or Bubble in a one-on-one fight. It could be seen from the fact that he ran away. Origin ancient character. I can feel the origin ancient character. In his sea of consciousness, the quantifying character formula shouted. Who has the origin ancient character? Lu Ming's heart trembled. It's on both of them. The quantifying formula said. Both of them. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Of course, he knew who the quantifying character formula was referring to. Dandin and Bubbles. He didn't expect that both Dandin and Bubble would have origin ancient characters on them. It seemed that after he separated from Dandin and Bubble, he wasn't the only one who had a fortuitous encounter. Dandin and Bubble also had a fortuitous encounter. Of course, Lu Ming didn't have any thoughts about Dandan and Bubble's origin characters. He was just happy for them. Haha, as expected of the people who follow me, Lu Ming. Each and every one of you is a peerless genius, a peerless hero. Lu Ming's soul power laughed heartily. Measurement formula, battle formula, bone demon. Haha, Lu Ming, I've saved you again. You're not strong enough. Follow me in the future, I'll protect you. Dandan strode over, laughing heartily and looking pleased with herself. Okay, since I've offended the Heavenly Palace, I'll leave the Heavenly Palace to you in the future. Protect me. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Dandan's face immediately fell, causing Bubble to laugh. Ao Yen, Ao Guan and Ao Qing flew over with surprised faces. They didn't expect Lu Ming to know the World Turtle and Spacetime Spirit Mouse. They were the top monsters of the dragon race back then, so they naturally knew about the Spacetime Spirit Mouse and the World Turtle. They knew how terrifying those two races were. If it weren't for their small numbers, they probably wouldn't be weaker than the dragon race. Moreover, one of the two races was good at the Spacetime Dao and could open wormholes, while the other was good at the Array Dao and was proficient in refining pills and arrays. So, they had a good relationship with the major races in the universe. Come, let me introduce you. Lu Ming introduced Ao Yen and the others to Dandan and Bubble. By the way, why are you here? Lu Ming asked. We saw you in the illusionary divine jade, so we came in to help you. Dandan curled his lips. Lu Ming's heart warmed. Obviously, Dandan and Bubble came in to help him. However, you can't let others know about your whereabouts. Once the Heavenly Palace knows about it, it'll be bad for your two races. Lu Ming said. Dandan and Bubble were silent. Over the years, they had cultivated in the two races and naturally knew a lot of things. They also knew how terrifying the Heavenly Palace was. No matter how strong their two races were, they couldn't compete with the Heavenly Palace. In the great desolate universe, the Heavenly Palace was supreme. This was not just a saying. Wait here for a while. We'll go and release those dragon humans. Lu Ming said. Then he went to the mountain in front with Ao Yen and the others and released all the dragon humans. There was also the 8-clawed divine dragon. The 8-clawed divine dragon was overjoyed when it saw Ao Yen and decided to follow her. In the near future, the people from beyond the heavens will be harmful to us. You'd better find a secret place to hide. Don't come out. Ao Yen warned the dragon humans and told them to find a secret place to hide. Then, with the 8-clawed divine dragon, Dandan and Bubble, they secretly returned to Penglai Island. Not long after Lu Ming and the others left, a few prodigies came to the place where Yin Yang Xiangyu and the others were killed. When they arrived, their faces were very ugly. This is Yin Yang Xiangyu. When they saw Yin Yang Xiangyu's corpse, their faces were very serious. Lu Ming deliberately left Yin Yang Xiangyu's corpse behind to give the other prodigies a strong counterattack. Even Yin Yang Xiangyu of the Yin Yang race is dead. Lu Ming and the remaining members of the dragon race are probably very strong. We'd better spread the news and let the others be careful. It's best if we work together. If we act alone, we might be defeated one by one. Okay. In the end, a few prodigies sent the news to the illusory space. It immediately caused a huge commotion. This time, Xier and the others used an 8-clawed divine dragon and a large number of dragon humans to force Lu Ming to show himself. In the end, Lu Ming showed himself, but Xier and the others lost their lives. Even the Yin Yang race's monstrous prodigy Yin Yang Xiangyu was killed. It was really shocking. The result was that the winged men race's powerhouses were furious. The Yin Yang race's powerhouses also spread the news that they must kill Lu Ming. When Lu Ming saw this, he smiled faintly. Now his state of mind was very calm. Even the Heavenly Palace wanted to deal with him. Why would he care about the winged men race and the Yin Yang race? After returning to Penglai Island, Lu Ming and the others began to discuss and prepare to continue fighting back against the other prodigies. With the addition of Bubble and Faint, he was much more confident. However, the premise was that Dandan and Bubble could not be exposed. Chapter 3681. Ao Yen formed a hand seal, and images appeared one after another. She was using the surveillance array to monitor the prodigies of the various races, looking for targets to attack. However, most of the scenes were empty. There was no one in sight. Only a few images showed the figures of the various races' prodigies, but these prodigies were all in groups. It seems that these people have become very cautious after knowing that Yin Yang Xiangyu and the others have been killed. It will be difficult to attack if they all gather together. Ao Yen frowned. There are so many prodigies from the various races. There must be someone who is alone. Watch me. Dandan walked over and waved his hands. Immediately, countless runes appeared in the void. Then images appeared one after another. These are runes. Ao Yan's pupils shrank and she was amazed. Danden's understanding of runes and formations had reached the acme of perfection. Cultivators would usually dabble in runes and formations, but it was usually used to assist in cultivation. For example, Ao Yan thought that she was talented in runes and formations, but compared to Danden she was far inferior. The origin ancient runes that this guy obtained can't be that guy's formation, right? In his sea of consciousness, the quantifying character formula muttered. Lu Ming's expression was normal. At least a few thousand images appeared in the sky, and the scene in each image was different. This is the surveillance array, Lu Ming said. Yes, during this period of time, Bubble and I have traveled all over the dragon race's mother planet and set up many formations everywhere. How is it? It's much stronger than your surveillance array, right? Danden looked at Ao Yan proudly. This guy still cared about his face. Amazing. Ao Yan, Ao Guan, and the others exclaimed in admiration, causing Danden to grin from ear to ear. Then they carefully looked at the images. There were a total of 5,000 to 6,000 images, and the surveillance range was much larger. Many of the images had figures appearing. Soon they discovered that some of the prodigies who were alone or in small numbers had gathered together. These few are alone and can't attack. They are shockingly strong. If we attack together we will all die. Danden pointed at a few prodigies who were alone. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. If even Danden said so, these people were definitely terrifying existences. Do you know anything about these people? Lu Ming asked. I know a bit. Bubble and I have deliberately approached those people, so we know their approximate cultivation bases. Danden said. Lu Ming was quite touched. It was obvious that Danden and Bubbles had done this because of him. They had purposely approached these people and investigated their backgrounds. If you want to make a move, you can do it here, here or here. These people aren't very strong and I've marked every single one of the surveillance formations. It'll be easy to find them. Danden said. Alright then let's go. This time we'll kill them until they're afraid. We'll kill them until they don't dare to stay here and scram out of the dragon race's mother planet. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. After the discussion, Lu Ming, Danden, Bubbles, Ao Yan, Ao Guan, and Ao Qing left Penglai Island. I'll open the way, Bubbles said. She waved her hands and the void fluctuated. A passage appeared. This is a wormhole. Lu Ming was shocked. Yes, but with my current cultivation base, I can only open a short-distance wormhole. If it's too far, I won't be able to, Bubbles said. On the side, Ao Yan and the others were amazed. She was only a 7th-level Divine Lord, but she could already open a wormhole. This was really shocking. Even if it was only a short distance. Lu Ming thought of Wan Shen. When Wan Shen was a 2nd-level Divine Lord, he could already open a short-distance wormhole. Bubbles was an expert in spacetime. Her cultivation base had already reached the 7th-level Divine Lord, and she also controlled an ancient origin word. It wasn't surprising that she could open a short-distance wormhole. Let's go. Lu Ming and the others stepped into the wormhole and disappeared. In the middle of a lake there was a small island. This was originally the territory of a dragon-human force, but now it was occupied by a few outsider prodigies. These prodigies were from the Fire God race. The Fire God race was ranked 85th on the primeval 10,000 races list. It was also an extremely powerful race. This race was known as the innate Fire God. They were the incarnation of flames, and their control of flames had reached a superb level. This time, a total of 5 prodigies from the Fire God race entered the dragon race's mother planet and gathered together. They began to look for Lu Ming. After not finding him for so long, they began to occupy some ruins and sacred grounds, plundering the resources inside. At this time, the 5 prodigies from the Fire God race were discussing how to occupy more ruins and sacred grounds and plunder more resources. The resources of the dragon race's mother planet made them extremely excited. Even if they didn't kill Lu Ming, as long as they cultivated here for a period of time and plunder a large amount of resources, their cultivation base would also improve by leaps and bounds. What's going on? Why do I feel that the world has suddenly quietened down? A youth from the Fire God race asked curiously. I feel the same. It seems like there's no sound at all. Another youth from the Fire God race also frowned. Not good, there's a problem. Be on guard. One of the youth's face suddenly changed. Suddenly, in all directions, whether it was in the void, on the ground, or on any object, runes began to appear. These runes interweaved together to form a large formation. The large array formed chains that wrapped around them. There's an array. Charge out. A youth from the Fire God race shouted. The 5 prodigies from the Fire God race turned into flames. The flames soared into the sky, emitting a terrifying heat. They tried their best to charge out, wanting to burn the array. However, the void trembled and squeezed toward them like water waves. Their bodies stiffened, and then the chains formed by the large array firmly wrapped around them. "Who is it?" a youth from the fire god race shouted. Swish. The next moment, a youth's figure appeared. "Lu Ming, it's you? Why are you here?" The 5 prodigies from the fire god race shouted in shock. "I'll send you on your way," Lu Ming said coldly. He unleashed all his strength and punched out continuously. Boom, boom. A terrifying explosion erupted. The bodies of the 5 prodigies from the fire god race exploded, turning into balls of flames. However, the flames quickly gathered, and their bodies appeared again, but their auras were much weaker. "Kill!" Lu Ming hollered. His fingers were like swords as he pointed at their glabella. A terrifying force penetrated them and destroyed their souls directly. The 5 prodigies from the fire god race fell. Their bodies collapsed on the ground, and their eyes revealed their unwillingness. Lu Ming summoned the illusory divine jade and recorded this scene. He then sent it to the illusory divine jade. Following that, they killed their way to the next location. Chapter 3682. In just one day, Lu Ming's group had killed 5 groups of heavenly geniuses from the outside world. This scene was transmitted to the dream space, causing a huge commotion. Everyone knew that this was Lu Ming's retaliation. This was Lu Ming's warning. How arrogant! Damn it, how can they appear and disappear so mysteriously? There was one time when I was rushing over but I lost track of them. How can they end their battles so quickly? Those people aren't weak. Within the dream space, the various heavenly geniuses were discussing. That was because Lu Ming's group was too mysterious. Furthermore, the speed at which they ended their battles was too shocking. Some terrifying existences nearby had sensed the fluctuations of the battle and rushed over, but they had already lost track of Lu Ming's group. That infuriated the various heavenly geniuses, but there was nothing they could do. Many people were terrified, especially those who weren't particularly strong. There was even a group of heavenly geniuses who had entered with Lu Ming. Because they were too weak, they didn't dare to stay and left the dragon race's home planet. Entering the dragon race's home planet was very difficult, but leaving was actually very simple. As long as they kept flying high, they would automatically leave the range of the 10,000 dragon seals. At this time, Lu Ming's group had already returned to Penglai Island. The warning had already been issued. Now it was up to the various heavenly geniuses to react. Suddenly, over 10 figures appeared in a valley. Lu Ming's group can come and go without a trace. Furthermore, for them to be able to kill the various heavenly geniuses so easily, they definitely aren't simple. They either have some sort of treasure or someone helping them. We have to investigate this thoroughly. One of them arrived. He was wearing black and white robes. He was also a heavenly genius from the Yin-Yang race. Yin-Yang Jianghu was his younger cousin. That was why his killing intent was extremely dense. Indeed, this matter is too strange. Lu Ming's group shouldn't be that strong. We have to investigate this thoroughly. Another young woman said. I've already made an appointment with the Heaven's Legacy race's Tianji Haoyue. I trust that he'll be able to find the truth. Another youth said. All right. The Heaven's Legacy race's divination arts are unparalleled. With him here, he'll definitely be able to divine just what sort of tricks Lu Ming has. I didn't expect Tianji Haoyue to also come. He's here. Suddenly, many people looked in a certain direction. From that direction, a young man was flying over. This young man was very handsome. His eyebrows were sharp like swords and he looked like a human. The only difference was that there was a star mark between his eyebrows. He was wearing a long robe, which was also embroidered with various star patterns. Tianji Haoyue. Many people's eyes lit up. Brothers. Tianji Haoyue cupped his fists and greeted everyone with a confident smile on his face. Tianji Haoyue, I'm counting on you this time. I hope you can deduce Lu Ming's background, what treasure he's using, or who is helping him. The prodigy from the Yin-Yang race said. No problem. Tianji Haoyue smiled. The Heaven's Legacy race specialized in divination and was known to know everything in the world. Of course, this was an exaggeration. However, the Heaven's Legacy race was ranked 13th on the Great Desolate 10,000 races ranking, one rank higher than the Spacetime Spirit Mouse race. However, it will take some time. Tianji Haoyue continued. Then he began to act. With a wave of his hand, jade talismans flew out one after another. A total of 360 jade talismans flew out, enveloping an area of tens of thousands of miles. This area of tens of thousands of miles was where Lu Ming and the others had killed a group of prodigies. Then the jade talismans shone. Qianji Haoyue sat cross-legged in the air, divine light spreading out, resonating with the 360 jade talismans. Then his hands rapidly formed seals. In an instant the sky changed. The sky here was covered by a starry sky. Qianji Haoyue was using a great divine ability to deduce. The other prodigies watched in the surroundings, not daring to make a sound. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. At this moment, Qianji Haoyue's movements suddenly stopped, and the stars in the sky disappeared. "It's done," Qianji Haoyue said. "How was it? Did you deduce it?" The prodigy from the Yin-Yang race asked. Qianji Haoyue pointed his finger at the void, and an image appeared in the void. In the image, Dandan and Bubbles' figures clearly appeared. The two of them were using a grand formation and the space-time Dao to trap several prodigies. Then Lu Ming and the others appeared and killed those prodigies. It's the World Divine Turtle and the Space-Time Spirit Mouse. The Yin-Yang race's prodigies recognized them at a glance. Damn it. The World Divine Turtle and the Space-Time Spirit Mouse are actually helping that Lu Ming. How dare they openly disobey the orders of the Heavenly Palace? Do they want to be exterminated? Send it to the dream space. Let the Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven decide. Immediately, they sent the information Qianji Haoyue had deduced to the dream space, causing an 18th grade tremor. The World Divine Turtle and the Space-Time Spirit Mouse were actually working together to help Lu Ming. This was beyond everyone's expectations. At the same time, they finally understood why Lu Ming was able to kill so many prodigies without anyone noticing. Not good. They know. On Penglai Island, Lu Ming's expression changed when he saw the contents of the dream space jade. Dandan and Bubble also saw it and their expressions turned ugly. They could secretly help Lu Ming, but if they were exposed, the Heavenly Palace would definitely punish them. Dandan and Bubble had been with the two races for so long, and they already had a sense of belonging. They also didn't want the Heavenly Palace to punish them. But now they couldn't hide it anymore. As expected, the Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven was furious and questioned the World Divine Turtle and the Space-Time Spirit Mouse in the dream space. The two races' experts were shocked and claimed that they didn't know about this matter, and that there were already experts rushing over to the Dragon race's homeworld. At the same time, the two races' experts transmitted messages to Dandan and Bubble, telling them to leave Lu Ming and leave the Dragon race's homeworld. "I'm not leaving." Bubble pouted and stayed by Lu Ming's side. "This matter is going to be troublesome." Dandan muttered and frowned, but he also didn't leave. A few days passed just like that. Lu Ming. In the sky above the Dragon race's homeworld, an incomparably loud voice rang out. When Lu Ming heard it, he knew that it was the Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven. "Although you're hiding, I know you can hear it. You're very good, even the World Divine Turtle and the Space-Time Spirit Mouse are helping you. Now, I'll say that the two little fellows of the World Divine Turtle and the Space-Time Spirit Mouse, if you leave the Dragon race's homeworld, I'll let bygones be bygones. If you don't repent, the World Divine Turtle and the Space-Time Spirit Mouse races will be destroyed because of you." The Lord of Heaven's voice rumbled through the Dragon race's homeworld and the starry sky outside. His voice was filled with killing intent, causing many races to tremble in fear. Chapter 3683. The Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven is a man of his word. Many races were trembling in fear. Although many races were on good terms with the World Turtle and Space-Time Spirit Mouse, they didn't dare to speak now. In history, there were powerful races that disobeyed the orders of the Heavenly Palace and disappeared in the long river of history. The Dragon race was so powerful back then, but they were still destroyed. Now that the Lord of Heaven is furious, who would dare to speak up for the Space-Time Spirit Mouse and World Turtle? Dandan and Bubble's faces were extremely ugly. If this continues, it will really implicate the World Turtle and Space-Time Spirit Mouse races. "Dandan, Bubbles, you two can leave," Lu Ming said. Now he can only let Dandan and Bubbles leave. Since they have been exposed, Lu Ming can't implicate them. "Brother Lu Ming, I won't leave." Bubbles gritted her teeth. "I'll stay too," Dandan said. "What are you two staying for? Do you want the World Turtle and Space-Time Spirit Mouse races to be destroyed?" Lu Ming deliberately said with a cold face. "There is another reason Dandan and Bubbles must leave. Now that they have been exposed, Dandan and Bubbles will be in danger if they follow him. Who knows what the Heavenly Palace has up their sleeves? Therefore, Dandan and Bubbles must leave and draw a line with him." Boom. At this moment, the sky suddenly shook violently. Then a voice sounded. "Bubbles, get out here." This is a woman's voice. There is some urgency and anger in her voice. "Master." Bubbles' body trembled, her eyes showed a struggling look. Her master is here, the middle-aged woman who took her away back then. Dandan, you bastard, you turtle bastard, get out here, do you want to die? Then another boorish voice sounded. This old man is here too. Dandan whispered, his face was also full of struggle. The Spacetime Spirit Mouse and the World Turtle had both arrived, and they were people who were very close to Bubble Dandan. Dandan, Bubble, you two can leave. Lu Ming said. Big brother Lu Ming. Bubbles was still hesitating. Let's go. Leave now. Otherwise don't blame me for turning hostile. Don't you understand me? I've seen all sorts of storms. Even the Heavenly Palace can't do anything to me. In the future we will still have a chance to meet again. But if you continue to stay here, I can only go out and surrender. Lu Ming stared at Dandan and Bubbles. At this moment, the Lord of Heaven, the World Turtle, and the Spacetime Spirit Mouse continued to speak. His meaning was simple. He wanted Dandan and Bubbles to leave now. If they left now, they could let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, the two races would face a calamity. Go. In the end, Lu Ming ordered them to leave with a cold face. Big brother Lu Ming, you must survive. Bubbles was reluctant to leave. Tears were in her eyes. Lu Ming, I know you will definitely be fine. I will wait for you to rise. In the future, if you want to kill your way to the Heavenly Palace, I will accompany you. Dandan spoke and transmitted to Lu Ming. Keha, let's go. Lu Ming said. In the end, Dandan and Bubbles left. There were still two races behind them that they had to take into consideration. Not long after Dandan and Bubbles left, a dragon's roar came from the sky. It was very mournful and seemed to be in great pain. Lu Ming took out the illusory heavenly jade and looked. His face turned gloomy. What's going on? Why is there a dragon's roar outside? Lu Ming, what happened outside? Ao Yen looked at Lu Ming. Ao Guan, Ao Qing and the others did the same. Take a look. Lu Ming took out the illusory heavenly jade and an image appeared. The background of the image was the universe outside the dragon race's mother planet. There were some figures in the starry sky. They could see the huge figure of the Lord of Heaven in the heavenly palace standing in the starry sky. In addition, they could see a huge divine turtle floating in the starry sky. Lu Ming guessed that it should be the world divine turtle. Closer to the dragon race's mother planet, there were several huge figures. One of them was golden and had a pair of wings. It was the winged race's powerhouse. The other was the Wu people's powerhouse. At this time, the winged race's powerhouse was holding a divine dragon in his hand. The divine dragon had 6 claws on its abdomen. It was a 6-clawed divine dragon that was 10,000 meters long. Kill. The winged race's powerhouse shouted. A golden light flashed and the 6-clawed divine dragon's head was cut off. Dragon blood spurted out. This divine dragon is your reward. The winged race's powerhouse waved his hand and the divine dragon's corpse flew out. A group of middle-aged and young winged race members caught it. Haha, divine dragon blood is a great tonic. There's also divine dragon meat. The winged race members laughed. They actually drank the divine dragon's blood and roasted the divine dragon's meat in the starry sky. Damn it. This bunch of mixed hairs. Seeing their fellow clansmen being eaten alive, Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the others were furious. They were so angry that their bodies were trembling. At this time, the winged race's powerhouse took out a bag and reached his hand into it. When he reached out, he grabbed another divine dragon. Just like before, he killed it and gave it to the other winged race members to drink. Lu Ming and the rest of the divine dragons, I know you can see it. You better hurry up and show yourselves. Otherwise, the divine dragon race will really go extinct. The winged race's powerhouse spoke in a cold voice. Damn it, I'll fight it out with him. Fight it out. At most we'll die. Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the others were so angry that they wanted to rush out. The divine dragon race was spread across the universe. Back then, the divine dragon race on the dragon race's mother planet was almost wiped out. However, there were still many divine dragons in the universe. Obviously, the winged race's powerhouse had searched the universe and captured many divine dragons to force Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others to show themselves. In the heavenly palace, the Lord of Heaven watched coldly, condoning such actions. Don't be rash. Ao Yen reprimanded. Although she was trembling with anger and wanted to rush out and fight to the death, her spiritual wisdom stopped her. Now there were very few divine dragons left, and the 9-clawed dragon was even fewer. They were the last hope of the divine dragon race, and they could not be sacrificed in vain. If they wanted revenge, they had to survive. Ao Yen stopped Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the others. They're going too far. Ao Guan roared, his eyes red. This grudge must be avenged, but not now. Ao Yen said. Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the other divine dragons listened to Ao Yen. Although they were angry, they could only listen to Ao Yen. Princess Ao Yen is right. This grudge must be avenged, but we need to plan it carefully. Lu Ming also persuaded. How can we plan it carefully? Should we wait for them to kill all the divine dragons in the universe? Ao Guan said. Maybe we can find a special place to counterattack. Is there a divine dragon burial ground on the dragon race's mother planet? Lu Ming asked. Divine dragon burial ground? Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others were very curious. Lu Ming nodded, and the primordial divine dragon horn appeared. Chapter 3684. The primordial divine dragon horn floated above Lu Ming's head. This is. When Ao Yen, Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the others saw the primordial divine dragon horn above Lu Ming's head, their eyes widened in shock, confusion, and disbelief. Could this be the primordial divine dragon horn? Ao Yen said with a trembling voice. She seemed to be in disbelief. That's right. It's the primordial divine dragon horn. I don't think the primordial divine dragon horn is among the origin secret techniques you've awakened, Lu Ming said. Indeed, he had some doubts in his heart. During this period of time he had seen many people from the dragon-human clan, but none of them had awakened the ancient divine dragon horn. Even 9-clawed dragons like Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and Ao Qing, as well as other 8-clawed divine dragons, had not awakened the primordial divine dragon horn. Instead, they had awakened other origin secret techniques. It really is the immemorial divine dragon horn. A legendary secret technique. Ao Guan and Ao Qing widened their eyes and stared at the horn with all their strength. Ao Yen took a deep breath and calmed herself down. It's normal that we haven't awakened the primordial divine dragon horn. In fact, in the history of the dragon race, those who have awakened the primordial divine dragon horn are as rare as phoenix feathers. Why? Lu Ming was very surprised. He originally thought that the dragon clan could easily awaken the primordial divine dragon horn. That's because it's the war horn of the dragon race. Once the primordial divine dragon horn appears, it can summon the soul of a dragon to command 10,000 dragons. Anyone who awakens the primordial divine dragon horn is a peerless genius of the dragon race. Unfortunately, it's too difficult to awaken the immemorial divine dragon horn. In the history of the dragon race, there weren't many people who managed to do so. I really didn't expect that a member of the dragon race like you would be able to awaken the immemorial divine dragon horn. Ao Yen sighed. But soon Ao Yen's eyes became brighter and brighter. Lu Ming, you're looking for the divine dragon graveyard because you want to use the ancient divine dragon horn to summon a dragon soul, right? Ao Yen guessed Lu Ming's thoughts. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. Sure. With the archaic divine dragon's horn, you can summon the dragon souls of past generations. You'll definitely be able to kill the various geniuses. Ao Yen said. Good, haha, let's kill him. Ao Guan also became excited. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed, because he discovered that the illusory heavenly jade was releasing another video. With a thought, the illusory divine jade glowed, and an image appeared in the air. In the image was a group of youths. Clearly they were the geniuses of various races. The geniuses of the various races stood in the air, high and mighty. Below them, a large group of figures knelt on the ground. These figures were all dragon humans from all over the dragon clan's mother planet. In front of the dragon human tribe, there were a few divine dragons lying on the ground, their auras weak. Lu Ming and members of the dragon race, listen up. This is only a portion of it. You'd better come out yourselves. Otherwise, these dragon men and mystical dragons will all die. Also, we will go to the ruins and sacred grounds. If you guys don't show up, we will kill all the dragonians and divine dragons on the dragon race's mother planet. In the sky, a young man shouted with a murderous aura. Damn it. Ao Guan roared. The winged men were capturing divine dragons outside, drinking their blood and eating their meat. On the dragon race's mother planet, the various races' geniuses were hunting the remaining divine dragons. All of this was to force Lu Ming and the others to show up. This was simply too much. Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others also had cold killing intent in their eyes. Lu Ming, on the dragon race's mother planet, there's a place called the Dragon Burial Slope. Many dragon race experts in the past would be buried there after reaching the end of their lifespan. Over there, with the primordial divine dragon horn, you will definitely be able to summon the dragon soul to kill the enemy, Ao Yen said. Alright. Let's set off now. This time we must kill them until they are afraid. Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly. Alright, we'll kill them all. Ao Guan shouted, somewhat impatient. The group did not stop and left Penglai Island, heading towards the Dragon Burial Slope. The Dragon Burial Slope was located in the middle of the Dragon Spirit continent. The terrain here was steep, and the slopes were connected together like huge divine dragons lying on the ground. On the slope there were many large tombs. These were the tombs of past divine dragon race experts. As soon as he arrived, Lu Ming felt like his primordial divine dragon blood was about to boil over. This feeling was the same as when Lu Ming had been in the core of the Lost Star River. That was where the six-clawed black dragon resided. It was also this feeling that allowed Lu Ming to summon the dragon soul. But this feeling was countless times stronger than in the Lost Star River. Lu Ming took out the primordial divine dragon horn and blew it. A series of strange sound waves were emitted from his body. Suddenly, a roar came from one of the tombs. Then a dragon soul came out of the tomb. This dragon soul had 8 claws on its abdomen. When it was alive, it had been an 8-clawed divine dragon. A powerful aura permeated the air. The dragon power was vast and mighty, making Lu Ming and the rest feel immense pressure. Summoning the dragon soul. The dragon soul has appeared. It really works. It really works. Wonderful. The dragon horn is a natural commander of the dragon race. Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others whispered excitedly. Lu Ming continued to blow the primordial divine dragon horn. Dragon souls appeared in several more tombs. However, not all tombs would have a dragon soul appear. Some didn't. Ao Yen explained that not all dragons would have an indestructible dragon soul after they died. Some would dissipate after a long time. Some wouldn't form at all. After a while, Lu Ming put away the primordial divine dragon horn. The dragon soul also disappeared. Good place. Now I'll use the Dream Divine Jade to record a video and send it to the dream space to lure those people over. Lu Ming said. Then he controlled the Dream Divine Jade and aimed it at himself. I'm at the Dragon Burial Slope. Come if you have the guts. Lu Ming shouted coldly. His words were very simple. He told them the location and then sent it to the dream space. He believed that the various races' geniuses would definitely come. Those people would have doubts and worry that Lu Ming had set a trap here. But they would still come. That was because they wanted to take down Lu Ming too much. Moreover, Lu Ming and the others had so few people, while the other party had monstrous geniuses from various races. The other party had that confidence. Sure enough, after Lu Ming sent it to the dream space, it caused a commotion. Many people's eyes were burning. They wanted to make a move, but they were worried that Lu Ming had set a trap. In the end, a genius of a large race called for everyone to gather and deal with Lu Ming together. A few days later, a large number of figures gathered on a peak. Swish, swish. In the sky there were still people flying over. The various races' geniuses were gathered here. At the peak of the mountain stood several figures. The other geniuses were far away from these figures, looking at them with fear in their eyes. These figures were the strongest group of people who had entered the dragon race's mother planet this time. Chapter 3685. Among these people was Tianji Haoyue of the Tianji clan. Another person was the peerless genius of the Yin-Yang race, Yin-Yang Flying Catkins. There was also a young man with green skin and sharp fangs. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. This young man had a terrifying background. He was a genius of the Azura race. The Azura race was ranked 11th on the primitive 10,000 races list. It was an extremely terrifying race that was born to fight and kill. Every member of the Azura race was a natural warrior with terrifying combat strength. This genius of the Azura race was at the Quasi-Emperor realm. His combat strength was even more terrifying. Even Tianji Haoyue and Yin-Yang Flying Catkins looked at him with grave eyes. There were also a few other young men who were extremely terrifying existences. They were not weaker than Yin-Yang Flying Catkins. Everyone, Lu Ming took the initiative to reveal his destination this time. Be careful of any traps. Yin-Yang Flying Catkins said. So what if there's a trap? We have so many people. Our strength is enough to crush them. Any tricks will be useless. The genius of the Azura race cultivated the Tao of Sealing. His face was ferocious and filled with murderous intent. Why don't we use those dragon men to threaten Lu Ming and the others and make them come to us? Wouldn't that be better? Another young man said. Impossible. Tianji Haoyue shook his head. Lu Ming must know that as long as we capture him, we will be conferred the title of Son of Heaven or Daughter of Heaven. Who would give up such a great reward? He must know what we're thinking. So, if we use the dragon men to threaten Lu Ming but he doesn't listen and stays at that place, then we won't go over? These words made the face of the previous young man sink. Indeed, even if they threatened him, Lu Ming would not come. Would they not go over to capture Lu Ming? That was impossible. Who could resist the temptation of a son of heaven or daughter of heaven? Since they would definitely go over, why would Lu Ming be threatened by them and come? Lu Ming was not stupid. So, on the surface, it seems that we have taken down a large number of dragon men and we have the initiative. In fact, as soon as Lu Ming appears we will become passive. Because we will definitely not be able to resist capturing him. Tianji Haoyue said. The others nodded. I'm afraid that they will set a trap and we will suffer heavy losses. Yin Yang Flying Catkins said. You don't have to worry about that. A son of heaven and daughter of heaven. Let me introduce you to my friends. With them. Tianji Haoyue said before turning his gaze towards a certain spot in the void. Suddenly, ripples arose in space there and then two figures appeared. The man's figure was sturdy and full of strength. The woman had a graceful figure and was extremely beautiful. And? Yin Yang Flying Catkins, Xiao Feng and the others' expressions changed. Just by sensing their auras they could tell that one of them was a world turtle and the other was a space-time spirit mouse. Tianji Haoyue previously, the world divine turtle and the space-time spirit rat clan helped Lu Ming. If you ask them to help, be careful of harming yourself. Yin Yang Haoyue said coldly. Yin Yang Haoyue. Someone from my clan helped Lu Ming because he has a personal relationship with Lu Ming. I don't know any Lu Ming. My clan's ancestor ordered me to redeem myself. We must capture Lu Ming. The burly young man from the world divine turtle said. Same for my clan. The woman from the space-time spirit mouse said concisely. That's right. The world divine turtle and the space-time spirit mouse have a personal relationship with Lu Ming. But it doesn't mean that others will. With them around, no trap will work. Tianji Haoyue said with a smile. Everyone's eyes flashed. Indeed, there was no trap under the eyes of the world divine turtle and the space-time spirit mouse. Then who will Lu Ming belong to after we break the other party's trap? A young man asked. It's simple. Whoever can capture Lu Ming will get him. Xiao Feng said loudly. His eyes swept across the crowd with a fierce look. Everyone's face sank. They were extremely wary of Xiao Feng. All right, we're almost all here. Let's go. Tianji Haoyue said. He waved his hand and a map appeared. After looking at the map, everyone soared into the sky and flew towards the dragon burial slope. After a while, the dragon burial slope was in sight. This terrain is indeed suitable for setting up formations. Tianji Haoyue said. The Tianji clan was not only good at deduction, they were also proficient in observing the heavens and earth. They were even proficient in formations. However, there was still a gap between them and the world divine turtle. This should be the burial ground of the divine dragon clan. Let's be careful. The young man from the world divine turtle looked around and said. Everyone nodded and continued to fly towards the depths of the dragon burial slope. Lu Ming, I see him. There's also the nine-clawed dragon. A few excited voices rang out. In front of them was a huge slope. To be precise, it was a huge dragon tomb. Lu Ming, Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others were sitting cross-legged and looking at them indifferently. Are there any formations around? Yin Yang Flying Catkins asked. No, I've observed carefully. There are no traces of formations around. The young man from the world divine turtle said. I've observed with the power of spacetime. There are no abnormalities within 1,000,000 miles. The spacetime spirit mouse said. No abnormalities. Xiao Feng, Yin Yang Flying Catkins and the others were a bit stunned. In their view, it was normal for Lu Ming and the others to set up traps around. Now that there were no traps, they were a bit uncertain. There's no mistake, right? Yin Yang Flying Catkins asked. There's no mistake. The young man from the world divine turtle said. At this moment, Lu Ming, Ao Yen and the others had already stood up. The world divine turtle and the spacetime spirit mouse clans. It seems that Dandan and Bubble aren't the only ones entering the dragon clan's mother planet. Lu Ming looked at the young man and woman of the two clans and his eyes moved. He wasn't surprised that the prodigies of the world divine turtle and the spacetime spirit mouse clans were here. After all, Dandan and Bubble had helped him to kill the prodigies of the other clans before. Even though the world divine turtle and the spacetime spirit mouse clans had a special status in the universe and had a good relationship with the other clans, they had obviously violated the orders of the heavenly palace. It would be unreasonable if they didn't make some compensation. The best way to atone for their sins was to do something good. Since there's no trap then, Yin Yang Flying Catkins' eyes flashed coldly and a black and white divine light burst out and directly rushed towards Lu Ming. Yin Yang Flying Catkins, Lu Ming is mine. Xiao Feng shouted coldly and his body also rushed out. The sky kept exploding. At the same time, a few other terrifying prodigies also attacked together and rushed towards Lu Ming. Since there were no traps, they couldn't help but directly attack, afraid that Lu Ming would be taken down by others. Chapter 3686. When Yin Yang Flying Catkins, Xiao Feng and the others attacked, the entire dragon burial slope was flooded with divine light. These heavenly geniuses were too strong. Quasi-emperors. When they attacked, Lu Ming's muscles tensed up and his hair stood on end. He felt incomparable danger. Yes, quasi-emperors. Xiao Feng, Yin Yang Flying Catkins and the others were all quasi-emperors. In the Taishu dynasty they were on par with the Taishu Sage Emperor, the Barbarian Emperor, and the Holy Old Heavenly King. But in terms of battle power, these heavenly geniuses were many times stronger than the Barbarian Emperor and the others. If they fought at the same level, the Barbarian Emperor, the Holy Old Heavenly King, and the others would only be killed in an instant. Even the Quasi-Emperor Undying Demon King wasn't a match for these people. If Lu Ming, Ao Yen and the others relied on their own strength, they would be killed in an instant. But this time, Lu Ming and the others didn't think of relying on their own strength to fight. The instant Xiao Feng, Yin Yang Flying Catkins and the others attacked, Lu Ming also moved. He held the primordial divine dragon horn in his hand and blew it. Oh. An ancient and resounding horn sounded, as if an ancient battlefield had reappeared. Then, a heaven-shaking dragon roar came from the dragon tomb under Lu Ming's feet. The dragon tomb lit up and a huge dragon soul flew out. This was the dragon soul of a nine-clawed dragon. It was mighty and extraordinary, and its vast dragon might made people's hearts palpitate. Although they didn't know what era this divine dragon was from when it was alive, Lu Ming had used the primordial divine dragon horn to summon an indestructible dragon soul countless years after its death. It was still extremely powerful. A dragon soul wasn't a soul. It was equivalent to a remnant undying will or a trace of imprint. The dragon soul roared and swept its tail at Yin Yang Flying Catkins and the others. Boom. A series of violent explosions rang out and energy overflowed. The attacks of Xiao Feng and the others had actually been blocked. It's a dragon soul. Damn it. Could this be the legendary war horn of the divine dragon race? He's just a human. How could he awaken it? Tianji Haoyue thought of something and roared in shock. Who cares about the horn? Kill. Xiao Feng roared. His body swelled up and he transformed into a giant Azura. Black God Force rolled off of him and he wielded a huge saber. With a murderous aura he charged toward Lu Ming. The Yin Yang Flying Catkins was shrouded in Yin Yang Qi. The Yin Yang twin swords slashed through the sky towards Lu Ming. Its might was many times stronger than the Yin Yang Flying Catkins. The other Sky Prides also unleashed their full strength and charged towards Lu Ming. Behind them, those geniuses with weaker cultivation levels also dashed toward Lu Ming. This time, a full 1,000 terrifying heavens chosen came. Their cultivations were all 7th level Divine Lord and above. No one could resist the temptation of becoming a heavenly son or heavenly daughter. Woo woo woo, the sound of the primordial divine dragon's horn became urgent. Then the dragon tombs lit up, and the dragon's roar resounded through the world. Roar roar roar. Amidst the dragon roars, several enormous dragon souls appeared and roared toward the sky with overwhelming dragon might. Under Lu Ming's control, these dragon souls charged at the Sky Prides. These dragon souls were all major characters of the dragon race. When they were alive they were shockingly powerful. Even though they had died countless years ago, leaving behind only a remnant soul mark, their combat power was still terrifying. Miserable screams rang out. In just an instant there were casualties. At least a dozen Sky Prides were torn apart by the dragon souls. Even the Yin Yang Flying Catkins, Xiao Feng and the others were sent flying. Space-time energy. World formation. The space-time spirit mouse and world divine turtles Sky Prides attacked. Countless runes suddenly appeared around Lu Ming and the others. Furthermore, the space around them began to ripple. Powerful space-time energy began to spread towards them. However, Lu Ming had long since been prepared for this. The dragon tomb they had chosen wasn't a random one. The 9-clawed dragon soul they had summoned was incomparably powerful. Under Lu Ming's control, the 9-clawed dragon soul suddenly retracted. Its dragon claws stepped on the air, and the runes, formations and space-time energy all exploded. Regardless of whether it was the formation or the power of time and space, they were all blasted apart by the immense power. Then the 9-clawed dragon soul coiled around Lu Ming Ao Yen and the others to protect them. Wu Wu Wu. Lu Ming circulated his god force, blowing the primordial divine dragon's horn. The ancient sound spread in all directions. Dragon souls constantly flew out of the dragon tombs, attacking the various sky prides. Almost all of these dragon souls were 9-clawed dragons, 8-clawed divine dragons, and even the weakest was a 7-clawed divine dragon. Some of them were so strong that they could even suppress Xiaofeng Yin-Yang flying catkins and the others. Miserable screams rose and fell as more and more sky prides were killed. In just a short while, over 100 sky prides had fallen. As for them, they couldn't even get close to Lu Ming. Furthermore, the number of dragon souls here was increasing, while their numbers were decreasing. Damn it, we fell into his trap. Let's retreat and leave this area. This kid has the primordial divine dragon's horn and can summon dragon souls. As long as we leave this burial ground, we'll be fine. Many people, including Tianji Haoyue, roared. They planned to retreat first before thinking of a way to deal with Lu Ming. They did their best to retreat. However, could they retreat so easily? Clearly not. The place Lu Ming had chosen was the center of the divine dragon burial ground. There were dragon tombs all around. At this moment, dragon roars could be heard everywhere, especially several huge dragon tombs. Their roars shook heaven and earth. Several incomparably huge dragon souls appeared. One of the 9-clawed dragon souls grabbed at Yin-Yang flying catkins. This dragon soul's strength had reached a shocking level. Its vast aura made Yin-Yang flying catkins cry out in fright. He could sense that this dragon soul had completely surpassed the divine sovereign realm. It was definitely a divine emperor and not an ordinary divine emperor. It was so strong that he couldn't resist. Roar! A dragon roar rang out as a dragon claw grabbed at Yin-Yang flying catkins. Yin-Yang flying catkins tried his best to break out, but the surrounding space seemed to have solidified. The dragon claw swiped at him, and Yin-Yang flying catkins let out an unwilling cry. His body directly exploded and his soul was destroyed. Even the nearby sky prides were killed. There were at least 4 of such terrifying dragon souls surrounding the place. The various sky prides were surrounded. Xiaofeng, Tianji Haoyue, and the others had ugly expressions. Spacetime Spirit Mouse, quickly open a wormhole. Let us charge out. Tianji Haoyue roared at the Spacetime Spirit Mouse. I can't open a wormhole. With my strength I can't do it. The Spacetime Spirit Mouse prodigy shouted. Chapter 3687. Although her cultivation base was higher than Bubbles, her talent wasn't as strong as Bubbles. She couldn't open a wormhole, not even a short-distance wormhole. Damn it. Tianji Haoyue and the others panicked. If they couldn't open a wormhole and leave, they would definitely die under the siege of so many dragon souls. Attack Lu Ming. These dragon souls are all controlled by him. As long as we take him down, all the danger will be resolved. Tianji Haoyue roared. Kill. Xiaofeng roared and charged toward Lu Ming in a frenzy. The other geniuses did the same. Yes, their only chance of survival was Lu Ming. As long as they took down Lu Ming, all the danger would be resolved. All the geniuses charged at Lu Ming. Woo woo woo, the primordial divine dragon horn began to hum rapidly. Divine power poured into Lu Ming's body from the quantum character art, allowing the primordial divine dragon horn to take effect. One by one, the divine dragons charged toward the sky prides of the various races. There were also many souls around Lu Ming. Tianji Haoyue and the others couldn't charge in at all. As for the 4 strongest dragon souls, they were already charging at them. Those 4 dragon souls were too strong. With each move, over a dozen geniuses were killed. In just a short while, half of the geniuses had fallen. There were over 500 of them. This was an incomparably huge loss. These geniuses were all 7th-level divine lords. If they were placed in the various races, they would have become divine emperors. It wouldn't be difficult for them to become even stronger existences. But now, a large number of them had fallen. Boom. At this moment, the entire dragon race's mother planet let out a rumble and violently shook. Lu Ming's gaze swept towards the sky. Outside the dragon race's mother planet, an incomparably huge figure appeared. The holy light was even more resplendent than the sun. Heavenly Palace, Lord of Heaven. Stop. The Lord of Heaven shouted. His palm shone and slashed out. It turned into a resplendent sword of light and slashed at the dragon race's mother planet. 10,000 dragon seals were activated to resist the sword of light. Rumble, the entire dragon clan's mother planet shook violently. Some mountains even exploded. The dragon burial ground also shook violently. Even Lu Ming's primordial mystical dragon horn paused. The Lord of Heaven has come to save us. Let's work together and kill our way out. All the prodigies roared and rushed in the same direction. Outside the dragon race's mother planet, the Lord of Heaven's attacks were extremely violent, even more terrifying than the last time. Sword of Heaven Survey. The Lord of Heaven roared and the universe shook. This time he returned to the Heavenly Palace and retrieved the treasure of the Heavenly Palace, the Sword of Heaven Survey. As soon as he returned, he saw the geniuses of various races being trapped by Lu Ming's soul. He immediately attacked. A holy sword appeared in the hands of the Lord of Heaven. Boom! At this moment, the Lord of Heaven's aura was at its peak. A few wisps of sword chi seeped out and directly cut open the starry sky. A few ferocious cracks appeared in the vast starry sky, spanning an endless distance. In the endless distance, planets were cut in half one after another, and stars exploded one after another. Terrifying, incomparably terrifying. These were just a few wisps of overflowing sword chi, and it was already so terrifying. If the Lord of Heaven used his full strength, he might really be able to cut open an entire galaxy. Legend has it that some of the top powerhouses in the universe could directly destroy an entire galaxy with a full-strength attack. It was not just a rumor. Slash. The Lord of Heaven roared. Holding the Sword of Heaven Survey with both hands, a terrifying power condensed and then turned into an extremely condensed sword chi that slashed towards the Dragon Clan's mother planet. At this moment, the 10,000 dragon seals boiled. The entire 10,000 dragon seals turned into an incomparably huge divine dragon that coiled around the Dragon Clan's mother planet. This was the complete manifestation of the 10,000 dragon seals. This divine dragon roared, and its dragon claws burst out with golden divine light as it grabbed at the Sword of Heaven Survey. Boom. As if the universe had exploded, the two sides were completely annihilated in the middle of the collision. The dazzling divine light made people unable to open their eyes. The Dragon Clan's mother planet shook violently. Many peaks collapsed, and in the sea, endless waves rolled, forming a tsunami. In the end, outside the Dragon Clan's mother planet, the result was decided. The dragon claw formed by the 10,000 dragon seals actually exploded. The sword chi formed by the Sword of Heaven Survey also shattered. However, it turned into wisps of sword chi that spread across the surface of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. That collision just now caused some weaknesses to appear in the 10,000 dragon seals. In an instant, many sword chi seeped in and permeated into the Dragon Clan's mother planet. These sword chi were weakened to the extreme by the 10,000 dragon seals, and did not have much power left. However, they were still extremely terrifying. These sword chi bombarded the ground of the Dragon Clan's mother planet without any target. Boom. Boom. The mountains were penetrated and huge pits were blasted out on the ground. Many dragon beasts were swept by the sword chi and turned into ashes. Some unlucky dragonians were swept by the sword chi and died on the spot. The people from the outside world are coming in, quickly hide. Hide in the ruins. Quickly. At this moment, the entire Dragon Clan's mother planet was in chaos. Countless dragonians roared in horror, as if doomsday was coming. Many people roared and rushed into the various ruins. Most of these ruins were shrouded in restrictions and had spatial folding technology to avoid disasters. The Dragon Clan's mother planet was in chaos. At the Dragon Burial Slope, a wisp of sword chi also fell. This sword chi had no target and it fell directly. When it fell, a large number of dragon souls were directly destroyed. However, a large number of sky prides from various races were also killed by the sword chi, at least dozens of them. In the end, the sword chi fell on the ground and blasted out a huge pit. Lu Ming, Ao Yen and the others' faces were a little pale. If this sword chi fell on them, only death would await them. Fortunately, their luck was not bad and it did not fall near them. However, this way the dragon souls in that direction were destroyed by the sword chi, including a terrifying dragon soul. This way, a flaw appeared in the encirclement. Charge out. How could Tianji Haoyue and the others miss such an opportunity? They pushed their speed to the limit and rushed out with all their might. The sky pride of the spacetime spirit mouse was the fastest. In a flash, he rushed out of the encirclement. Next was Tianji Haoyue, Xiaofeng and the others. They also rushed out of the encirclement. The other sky prides rushed out with all their might. Wu Lu Ming continued to blow the primordial divine dragon horn, controlling the remaining dragon souls to chase after the various sky prides. In the end, after a few dozen sky prides were left, the remaining sky prides all left the Dragon Burial Slope. What a pity. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Originally, he wanted to use this opportunity to kill all the sky prides from various races in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, because the Lord of Heaven suddenly made a move, a flaw appeared in his plan, and these people escaped. Huff Tianji Haoyue and the others left the Dragon Burial Slope, and they finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, they still had lingering fears. Chapter 3688. That damned Lu Ming. Tianji Haoyue roared in his heart, his face incomparably sinister. This time he had lost a lot of face. The Tianji race was known for their flawless plan, but this time he had miscalculated. Even he himself had almost been completely wiped out. This was a great humiliation to him. He already bore a deep grudge against Lu Ming. Dragon race, Lu Ming, I will return this enmity tenfold. Tianji Haoyue roared in his heart, but then he thought, the Lord of Heaven is about to make a move. This Lu Ming is dead for sure. I probably won't have a chance to take revenge. What a pity. People in the dragon race's mother planet, listen up. All of you withdraw from the dragon race's mother planet. If you don't, I won't be able to take care of you when I make a move. The Lord of Heaven's voice came from beyond the sky. Go, let's leave quickly. Go. The expressions of the various races' geniuses changed greatly. They couldn't care less about the opportunities here and flew towards the sky. The Lord of Heaven was clearly going all out. The Lord of Heaven had broken the 10,000 dragon seals. Even if a wisp of energy seeped into the dragon race's mother planet, it was incomparably terrifying. Just like just now, it was just a wisp of sword energy, but no one could block it. If they were unlucky and were hit by the sword energy, only death would await them. None of the various races' geniuses dared to stay, and they all flew into the sky. The 10,000 dragon seals wouldn't stop them from flying out of the dragon race's mother planet. These people flew out of the range of the 10,000 dragon seals and returned to the starry sky. In an instant, almost all the various races' geniuses had left the dragon race's mother planet. Of course, this didn't rule out the possibility of some unwilling ones hiding in some ruins on the dragon race's mother planet. The Lord of Heaven couldn't be bothered with this. Is the Lord of Heaven going all out? Lu Ming looked at the sky with a solemn expression. He didn't put away the ancient divine power horn and continued to control the dragon soul. When the Lord of Heaven attacked the 10,000 dragon seals, if the energy seeped in like before, he could control the dragon soul to block it. It was better than them defending themselves, even though they weren't very confident. After the prodigies of the various clans left, the Lord of Heaven looked at Lu Ming and the others. Do you really think you can stop me with just 10,000 dragon seals? How naive. The Lord of Heaven's cold voice sounded, and the holy light on his body became even more dazzling. The sword of sky survey in his hand emitted a terrifying aura as if it was going to slaughter the world. The sword of sky survey had the power to survey the heavens and could slay anyone in the world. It was a precious treasure of the heavenly palace. The cultivation of the Lord of Heaven was fully unleashed. Endless destructive power poured into the sword of Heaven sentinel. Today I will break these 10,000 dragon seals. The Lord of Heaven shouted coldly, and he became one with the sword. His body and the sword of sky survey seemed to become one, turning into a dazzling sword light that stabbed towards the dragon race's mother planet. This time it wasn't just a sword light like the previous time. Instead, the Lord of Heaven and the sword of sky survey had become one, and the power of the attack had reached a terrifying level. The 10,000 dragon seals turned into an incomparably huge divine dragon. It let out a long roar, and then directly pounced towards the Lord of Heaven. Boom. The two sides collided once again. Crush. With the Lord of Heaven as the center, the void within 100 million miles was directly annihilated, turning into nothingness. Nothing was left. The prodigies and the older generation experts of the various clans had already evacuated this part of the starry sky, not daring to stay at all. Endless destructive power swept across the starry sky, and wherever it passed, nothing was left. Even the huge star that accompanied the dragon race's mother planet trembled, and its flames dimmed, almost extinguishing like a candle flame. Boom, boom, boom. Outside the sky, there were continuous explosions and airwaves swept across. Looking up from the dragon race's mother planet, the sky was dazzling and extremely spectacular. Then there were dragon roars, and Lu Ming saw that the divine dragon formed by the 10,000 dragon seals actually trembled, and was forcibly cut in two by the sword light. Of course, this divine dragon being cut in two didn't mean that the 10,000 dragon seals were broken. That divine dragon was just the manifestation of the 10,000 dragon seals' counterattack. The divine dragon being broken only meant that the counterattack of the 10,000 dragon seals was broken. Boom. Then the sword light didn't stop and continued to slash downwards. However, a layer of light shield appeared around the dragon race's mother planet. This layer of light shield surrounded the dragon race's mother planet in the middle, and on the surface of the light shield, there were countless divine dragon figures moving around. This was the true appearance of the 10,000 dragon seals. It was just that they usually didn't show it. The sword light heavily slashed on the light shield, and a shocking explosion erupted. The dragon race's mother planet shook even more violently, and terrifying energy seeped into the dragon race's mother planet, scattering on the ground. On the dragon race's mother planet, the ground, mountains, and seas were constantly exploding and countless life forms died. There were also several energy blasts that landed near the dragon burial slope, and several dragon tombs exploded. Fortunately, none of the energy blasts landed on Lu Ming and the others. Their luck wasn't bad. The 10,000 dragon seals were constantly vibrating. Above them, countless divine dragons were roaring and glowing. The sky patrolling sword surveys the world, killing everything. Break. The Lord of Heaven's voice shook the universe's starry sky, and holy light extinguished the starry sky, turning it into nothingness. Crack. A sound was heard as if porcelain had been shattered. A crack was forcibly torn on the 10,000 dragon seals. Not good. Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others' expressions changed. Previously, the winged race's experts and the Wu people's experts had wanted to tear open a crack on the 10,000 dragon seals and then kill Lu Ming. But with their strength, they weren't able to do that. In the end, they had been injured by the 10,000 dragon seals and had retreated. But now, the Lord of Heaven's sky patrolling sword had forcibly torn apart the 10,000 dragon seals. Even 10,000 dragon seals can't stop me. The Lord of Heaven roared. The holy light on his body condensed into two large hands, and he clawed at the crack on the 10,000 dragon seals, preventing the 10,000 dragon seals from merging. Kid, if I want to take down someone no matter where they are, they won't be able to escape. There's no place for you in the universe. The Lord of Heaven's voice spread throughout the starry sky. Then a holy light passed through the crack and seeped into the dragon race's mother planet. It turned into a hand and grabbed at Lu Ming. The hand covered the sky and the sun, enveloping the entire dragon burial slope. This is troublesome. Lu Ming whispered. It's more than troublesome. Kid, you're dead. Guamo shouted. Lu Ming. Facing this situation, Lu Ming wouldn't give up. He blew the primordial divine dragon horn, and one soul after another roared and rushed towards the hand. However, this was the Lord of Heaven's attack, and it wasn't weakened by the 10,000 dragon seals. How terrifying was its power. These dragon souls couldn't block it at all. As the huge hand pressed down, the dragon souls shattered one after another like fireworks. In an instant, all the dragon souls were annihilated. The hand continued to press down. Sigh. Lu Ming put down the primordial divine dragon horn and let out a long sigh. The gap between him and the Lord of Heaven was too big. Even if he wanted to go against the heavens, he couldn't do so. But at this moment, Lu Ming's eyes suddenly widened in shock. Chapter 3689. It wasn't just Lu Ming. Ao Yen, Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the others all looked at the sky in shock. In the sky, a divine dragon suddenly appeared in front of the huge palm. This divine dragon was just a five-clawed divine dragon. It didn't look any different from an ordinary five-clawed divine dragon. However, it gave off an incomparably majestic and unfathomable feeling. Roar. A heaven-shaking dragon roar resounded throughout the entire dragon clan's home planet. A dragon claw stretched out, rapidly expanding, and collided with the Lord of Heaven's palm. With a loud boom, the palm formed by the Lord of Heaven was crushed by the dragon claw. It turned into energy and disappeared. It was blocked. Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others were all dumbfounded. That was an attack from the Lord of Heaven. Although it wasn't his full strength, it was still terrifying enough. This five-clawed divine dragon that suddenly appeared actually blocked that attack. The key was that this five-clawed divine dragon looked extremely lifelike. It wasn't an attack condensed from the 10,000 dragon seals. It had its own spirituality. It was like a living being. The divine dragon clan actually had such a powerful existence. In the distant starry sky, the experts of various races were gathered. There were the older generation and there were also the younger generation. Images were floating in the air showing Lu Ming and the others, as well as the scene of their previous confrontation. That was because there were many geniuses who had set up monitoring formations all over the Dragon Clan's home planet. There were also some people who had left their illusory divine jades on the Dragon Clan's home planet to monitor it. So they could also see the situation on the Dragon Clan's home planet. A five-clawed divine dragon is so powerful? What's going on? There's still such a powerful remnant of the divine Dragon Clan alive? Everyone was discussing all kinds of doubts and guesses. At this time, the Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven stared at the five-clawed divine dragon. His pupils shrank and he said coldly, "I was wondering who it was. So it's the world destruction black dragon Ao Qian. You're really lucky to still have a wisp of your soul left behind. What is Senior Ao Qian? When Ao Yen heard this, she cried out in alarm. No way, Senior Ao Qian is still alive. Didn't he die in battle back then? Ao Guan and Ao Cheng also cried out in surprise. However, soon after, their eyes erupted with a fiery radiance. That was the radiance of worship. Everyone, is this Senior Ao Qian a big shot of your dragon clan? Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others. He's not just a big shot, Ao Qian is a legend of the dragon clan. He came from an ordinary background, he was only a 5-clawed black dragon. But as a 5-clawed black dragon, he rose against the heavens and defeated countless geniuses of the dragon clan. Even the 9-clawed dragon lost to him. After that, he became the strongest cultivator of the dragon clan. Ao Yen said. Furthermore, Senior Ao Qian came from a small world. Ao Guan added. Although they were all 9-clawed dragons, which was the embodiment of the dragon clan's bloodline talent, they were all dragons. However, when they talked about Ao Qian, their eyes were full of worship and passion. A 5-clawed divine dragon from a small world actually became the #1 expert of the dragon race. Lu Ming was also amazed. The 5-clawed divine dragon had the lowest talent in the divine dragon clan. Ao Qian, on the other hand, came from a small world, but in the end he became the #1 expert of the Endless Dragon clan. This was completely an epic. This was an invincible figure, a peerless hero, an overlord of the universe. However, according to the Lord of Heaven, Ao Qian seemed to only have a wisp of his soul left. Before we were sealed back then, it was said that Senior Ao Qian had already died in battle. I didn't expect him to still be alive. Ao Yen said, her eyes bursting with hope. She was the princess of the dragon clan and shouldered the hope of the dragon clan's rise. However, how old was she and how high was her cultivation base? This pressure was too great. Now that she knew that the #1 expert of the dragon clan was still alive, she breathed a sigh of relief and felt that the pressure had lessened by a lot. Yale, get out of the dragon clan's mother planet. In the sky, Ao Qian spoke. His voice was deep and full of dominance. Yale was the name of the Lord of Heaven. He directly asked the Lord of Heaven to get out. Ao Qian, you're just a wisp of your soul. If you were at your peak, I would still be a little afraid. A wisp of your soul still dares to come out. Today I'll completely turn you into ashes. The Yale Lord of Heaven roared, and holy light burst forth. However, after the delay just now, the power of the 10,000 dragon seals became stronger and stronger. It produced a counterattack, and the Yale Lord of Heaven was forced to retreat. The gaps in the 10,000 dragon seals that had been opened reformed and the cracks disappeared. The Yale Lord of Heaven's face was a little gloomy. All of you, attack with me. Today we'll completely destroy Ao Qian's soul and make the dragon clan history. The Yale Lord of Heaven said coldly. His words were directed in another direction. As soon as his voice fell, a huge figure appeared in the starry sky outside the dragon clan's mother planet. This incomparably huge figure was covered in holy light, and it had 6 pairs of wings on its back. It was the 12-winged angel that had appeared before. After the 12-winged angel appeared, another huge figure appeared in another direction. This figure was different from the 12-winged angel. It was covered in a blood-red fog and it looked incomparably evil. There was also a pair of wings on its back. This pair of wings was like a bat's, but the edges of the wings were golden. Its aura was incomparably terrifying, and it wasn't any weaker than the 12-winged angel. At the same time, a black fog appeared that blocked the sun's rays. This black fog constantly twisted, turning into a human form and then into a beast form. The angels, blood race and soul race have all come? Very good. Ao Qian said coldly, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. I'll break the 10,000 dragon seals. After I break them, you guys hold the 10,000 dragon seals. Don't let them heal. Yell said. The experts of the angels, blood race and soul race nodded. Attack. The Yale Lord of Heaven spoke. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately, the auras of the 3 experts of the 3 races erupted. Under this terrifying aura, the starry sky shook violently. Then the 3 of them attacked. 3 attacks fell on the dragon clan's mother planet. These 3 people were incomparably terrifying. Their cultivation realms were probably on the same level as the Lord of Heaven. When the 3 attacked, the 10,000 dragon seals also launched a counterattack. An incomparably huge 9-clawed dragon appeared and collided with the attacks of the 3. However, the attacks of the 3 existences on the same level as the Lord of Heaven were too terrifying. The counterattack of the 10,000 dragon seals was instantly defeated. The Lord of Heaven took the opportunity to become one with his sword and slashed down on the light barrier formed by the 10,000 dragon seals. Rumble. The dragon clan's mother planet shook violently once more, and strands of energy seeped in. Chapter 3690. Huge craters appeared on the surface of the dragon race's home planet. The energy rushed towards the dragon burial slope, but was easily blocked by Ao Qian. This time, the Lord of Heaven's full power attack landed on the barrier. The barrier shook intensely and then a crack appeared. This crack was even larger than the previous one. Attack. The 12-winged angel and the blood race's expert appeared on the 10,000 dragon seals crack. Among them, the 12-winged angel emitted holy light all over its body. Its 12 wings were incomparably huge, and it reached into the crack and pulled it out with all its might. As for the blood race's expert, he grabbed the other side of the crack and pulled. Rumble. The 10,000 dragon seal shook even more intensely. That crack was forcibly pulled a bit wider, and it was blocked by two terrifying existences. Ao Qian, let's see how you block me. Kill. Lord of Heaven Yale bellowed as holy light bloomed. Endless holy light condensed into a figure that looked exactly like Yale. It held a holy light sword and stepped into the crack, arriving at the mother planet of the dragon clan. The Yale Lord of Heaven didn't need to go all out against the 10,000 dragon seal. This divine avatar was extremely terrifying. As soon as he entered, a terrifying aura filled the air. Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others felt like they were facing a boundless universe. It was so terrifying that it made them despair. This was an existence that the Lord of Heaven couldn't even imagine. Compared to him, Lu Ming was like a firefly compared to the moon. The difference was countless times. Fortunately, Ao Qian released an aura that blocked Yale's aura. Otherwise, given Yale's, Ao Yan's and the rest cultivation level, they would be crushed to death by this aura. Kill. Yale's avatar wielded a sword of holy light and charged toward Ao Qian. Ao Qian let out a dragon roar and charged forward. His dragon claws seemed like they could tear apart the universe. They clashed with Yale's sword light. Sword light soared into the sky, but it only flickered a few times before exploding. An incomparably huge dragon claw slashed down, and Yale's divine avatar directly collapsed. How is this possible? You're just a remnant soul. Outside the 10,000 dragon seal, the Yale Lord of Heaven roared in shock. Back then I killed more than one Lord of Heaven. So what if I'm just a remnant soul? Ao Qian spoke domineeringly. It was just a wisp of remnant soul, yet it still had an invincible spirit. It was hard to imagine what kind of spirit Ao Qian would have had when he was at his peak. You. How dare a remnant soul look down on him? He would definitely destroy Ao Qian. If Ao Qian was at his peak, he would just turn and leave. He wouldn't dare to fight. Just like Ao Qian said, he had killed more than one Lord of Heaven back then. But now Ao Qian was just a remnant soul. He didn't have much strength left. And he had the Sword of Heaven survey. He was confident he could kill Ao Qian. With that, Yale took a step forward and charged into the crack of the 10,000 dragon seal. In an instant, sword light filled the sky. Holy light covered the sky, turning the world white. Then the dazzling sword light slashed at Ao Qian. Ao Qian roared. His dragon body became millions of miles long as he used a terrifying secret technique. Dazzling divine light blasted at the sword light. He fought with Yale. Boom. Boom. The two exchanged more than 10 moves in the blink of an eye. Yale's true body charged in personally with the Sword of Heaven survey. He was extremely powerful. Ao Qian was, after all, just a remnant soul. He wasn't a match for his opponent. He was forced to retreat, completely at a disadvantage. Boom. Finally, Yale's sword slashed at Ao Qian's body. Ao Qian's body exploded, turning into rays of light. Senior? How could this be? Ao Yen, Ao Guan, and the others cried out in disbelief. The number one expert of the dragon race, Ao Qian, was killed as soon as he came out. They couldn't accept this. They had just seen hope, but in the next moment, it was despair. The difference was too great. Ah, Ao Qian, so what if you were invincible back then? In the end you will still die at my hands. The Lord of Heaven laughed. But halfway through, his laughter came to an abrupt stop. Because the rays of light that Ao Qian had exploded into began to gather again. In the end, they turned into a human form, a middle-aged man. This was Ao Qian's human form. He was wearing battle armor, and his figure was imposing and domineering. Ao Qian, why? Yale shouted. He was very puzzled. Why can't I die? Let me tell you, in the dragon race's mother planet, as long as the mother planet is not destroyed, I will not die. Today the one who will die is you. Ao Qian shouted. His arms shook, and the entire dragon race's mother planet burst out with rays of light. Endless rays of light gathered toward Ao Qian, and his aura continued to surge. Boom. He punched out, and a dragon-shaped fist energy pounced toward Yale. Its power was incomparably terrifying. Yale slashed out with his sword and collided with the dragon-shaped sword energy. His body was forced back. Ao Qian, you've merged with the dragon race's mother planet Star Will. Damn it. Yale roared. He finally understood why Ao Qian couldn't die. He finally understood why Ao Qian didn't die after being scattered by him. It was because Ao Qian's remnant soul had merged with the dragon race's mother planet Star Will. As long as the dragon race's mother planet was not destroyed, Ao Qian would not die. Moreover, Ao Qian could borrow the power of the entire dragon race's mother planet to increase his combat strength. Die. Die. Ao Qian shouted, and his fists kept punching out. Dragon-shaped fist energy constantly blasted out. Yale had to brandish the Sword of Heaven survey to be able to fight against Ao Qian. Although Ao Qian was just a remnant soul, he could already fight against him with the help of the dragon race's mother planet. Ao Qian, you've merged with the dragon race's mother planet Star Will. You'll be trapped in the dragon race's mother planet for the rest of your life. You won't be able to leave. Yale shouted. I'm just a remnant soul. My mission in the future is to protect the dragon race's mother planet. It doesn't matter if I leave or not. You, on the other hand, won't be able to leave today. Ao Qian replied coldly, and his attacks became more and more violent. Yale roared in his heart. He was helpless and frightened. Ao Qian's current combat strength was probably a few % of his peak. If he didn't have the Sword of Heaven survey, he wouldn't be his opponent. But this time he wasn't alone. I'll hold Ao Qian back. You come in and kill Lu Ming and those 9-clawed dragon. Yale's voice sounded. He was talking to the Soul Race expert. The Soul Race expert hadn't made a move and was guarding outside. Yes. The Soul Race expert responded silently and then rushed toward the crack. He rushed into the dragon race's mother planet through the crack, and then rushed toward Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others. Chapter 3691. This Soul Race expert was in existence on the same level as the Lord of Heaven. He was incomparably terrifying. Not good. Lu Ming and the others' expressions changed. In the end, Ao Qian was just one person. Now that he was entangled, he couldn't save them. Power, power, I want power. Lu Ming roared inside. This feeling of powerlessness was too uncomfortable. He couldn't control his own fate and could only wait for others to save him. This feeling was truly unbearable. If he had the power to suppress the universe, why would he have to do this? Kiki, an existence that has fused with a taboo energy will die at my hands today. This feeling is wonderful. The Soul Race expert sneered. It seemed to be a woman's voice, but it was very cold and grating. Do you think you can touch a taboo body? Just as the Spiritas expert's voice fell, another woman's voice rang out. It was cold and arrogant. Then Lu Ming and the others saw a figure appear in front of them. It was a young woman in a dress that fluttered in the wind. She was like an immortal. However, her body was somewhat illusory. It wasn't a corporeal body but a wisp of her soul. Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the rest did not know when this lady had appeared. A remnant soul? No, a soul incarnation. A mere soul incarnation dares to block me? Those who block me will die. The Soul Race expert roared. His body was like smoke as he charged at the woman. However, he didn't see the fear in the Yale Lord of Heaven's eyes. Careful. The Yale Lord of Heaven shouted a warning, but it was already too late. The young woman extended a jade-white hand and pressed it against the air. It seemed slow, but in the next moment her palm had already struck the Soul Race expert. The Soul Race expert's attack directly collapsed. He let out a miserable scream as his body exploded, turning into smoke that wildly retreated. After retreating a great distance, he reformed. However, his aura was several times weaker than before. He had been heavily injured. Flee. Flee. The Soul Race expert only had one thought in his mind. He was really scared to death. He was a mighty figure of the Spiritas, and his cultivation was not below that of the Lord of Heaven. Furthermore, the Spiritas were extremely special. They were born with soul bodies that were difficult to kill, and their vitality was extremely tenacious. However, the woman's seemingly casual palm strike had seriously injured him. His aura was extremely weak and he was almost obliterated. Who is this guy? What kind of being is this? How could it be so terrifying? It was clearly just a soul incarnation, but it was so powerful that it was shocking. He madly rushed towards the crack, wanting to rush out of the crack and get as far away as possible. It wasn't just him. Even Yale had an unsightly expression on his face. Instead of continuing to fight with Ao Qian, he retreated at top speed, following the spirit folk expert out of the rift. After rushing out of the crack, Yale breathed a sigh of relief. The 12-winged angel and the blood-breed elite also let go of the 10,000 dragon seal and retreated. Who is it? Who is this person? Why is he so terrifying? The Spiritus powerhouses muttered to themselves with lingering fear in their hearts. Immeasurable heavenly demon, flying phoenix. Yale murmured. However, his voice was trembling. It was difficult to hide his emotions. What flying phoenix? That taboo? The experts of the Soul Clan, the Angel Clan, and the Blood Clan exclaimed in unison. They were extremely shocked. Yale nodded. Isn't this person supposed to be there? Why would she appear on the dragon race's mother planet? However, it's just a soul incarnation. Could it be that she's guarding the taboo? With this person here, we should retreat first. Or perhaps we can get the Heavenly Palace to send more experts. The taboo isn't something we can deal with, the Spiritus expert said. He still had lingering fear in his heart. You want to retreat? Since you're here, don't leave. That peerlessly beautiful woman, Flying Phoenix, seemed to have heard Yale and the others' conversation. She took a step forward, and her figure appeared outside the 10,000 dragon seal. Yale and the others subconsciously retreated. They're actually this scared. Lu Ming, Ao Yen, and the others were all shocked. In the distant starry sky, the various races were also shocked when they saw this scene through the monitoring formation. The Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven seemed to be very scared. How was this possible? Who else in the universe could make the Heavenly Palace's Lord of Heaven so scared? Flying Phoenix, your true body isn't here. This is just a soul incarnation. Do you think you can keep us here? If the four of us work together, it's hard to say who can keep who here. Yale shouted. The Heaven Sentinel sword shone and enveloped him, increasing his courage a bit. The eyes of the Angels and Blood Tribe powerhouses flashed, revealing a hint of interest. Indeed, they had heard of Flying Phoenix's terrifying reputation. However, no matter how strong Flying Phoenix was, she was just a soul incarnation. How strong could she be? If they worked together, they might be able to take down Flying Phoenix. Taking down a soul incarnation of the taboo would be a great merit for them. Only the Spiritus expert was still a bit frightened. That palm just now had scared him out of his wits. Don't worry. A soul incarnation can't store too much energy. The reason why her palm was so powerful just now might be because she used up a lot of energy. There's nothing to be afraid of. Yale's words made the others even braver. Standing at their height, they were naturally very clear about the weakness of a soul incarnation. A soul incarnation was just a soul incarnation. It wasn't a physical body, so it couldn't store too much energy. It would be easily exhausted. If the four of them worked together, they would exhaust their opponent to death. Thinking of this, they became even bolder. Cold killing intent filled the air. Very good. You don't run when facing me, and you even want to deal with me. You have some guts. Just based on this, I can give you a quick death. Flying Phoenix spoke. Although she was petite, she was even more domineering than Ao Qian. As soon as she finished speaking, she attacked. Her palm pressed forward. This palm seemed to cut through the universe. It looked ordinary, but it was incomparably stunning. Attack. At the same time, Yale and the others attacked. Yale slashed out with the Heaven Sentinel sword. Dazzling sword light collided with Flying Phoenix's palm. Clang. The sound of the collision spread throughout the universe. Sword chi scattered, and Yale rapidly retreated. At the same time, the Angels and the Blood Race's experts attacked Flying Phoenix. But her figure flashed and she dodged. In the next moment, she suddenly appeared in front of the Spiritus expert and pressed her palm down. This palm was different from the previous ones. The surface of her palm was covered in a layer of devilish light. Its power was even more terrifying. Not good. Save me. The Spiritus expert roared in panic. He didn't dare take it head-on. He retreated. But while he was fast, Flying Phoenix was faster. Her palm accurately struck the Spiritus expert. A miserable and despairing scream echoed through the starry sky. The Spiritus expert's body directly collapsed, turning into strands of energy. Then he completely disappeared. Chapter 3692. The Spiritkin expert's miserable scream echoed throughout the starry sky. Even the geniuses and experts of the various races who were far away could clearly hear it. Through the monitoring formation, they could also see some blurry images. Combining the two, they deduced a shocking piece of news. The Spiritus powerhouse was killed. Everyone looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with disbelief and shock. The Spirikin expert was actually killed. This was an expert on the same level as the Lord of Heaven. At least their major realms were the same. An expert of this level was already a supreme existence to them. They were unrivaled. They were the pinnacle of the primitive universe, invincible existences. Now such an existence had been killed. Then what realm was the other party? This was beyond everyone's understanding. On the dragon race's mother planet, Lu Ming Ao Yen, and the others were also dumbfounded. They were deeply shocked. So strong, truly so strong. This was the only thought in Lu Ming's and the others' minds. Killing an incomparably terrifying figure with 2 palms. The key point was, listening to the other party's conversation, that woman called Fei Huang was only a soul avatar, not her main body. This is a true invincible expert. Peerless beauty. Lu Ming sighed. With this kind of strength, she could really dominate the universe. Above the dragon race's mother planet, the angel race, the blood race, and the Lord of Heaven were deeply shocked. A chill rose in their hearts. I don't believe that a soul avatar can be invincible. After all, the Lord of Heaven was not an ordinary person. His mind was resolute. With a roar, his power flowed through the heaven surveying sword. He and the sword became one, and a resplendent light burst out, slashing toward Fei Huang. World extermination judgment, Angel King. The angel race's expert also roared. Holy light illuminated the 9 heavens. A mighty existence seemed to appear on his body. He wore a crown and held a scepter. Then a terrifying cross-shaped holy light slashed toward Fei Huang. Blood god art. The blood race's expert flapped his wings, and a sea of blood overflowed. It almost enveloped the entire dragon race's mother planet. Within the sea of blood, countless strange creatures roared, shaking one's soul as they rushed murderously towards Fei Huang. Facing the strongest attacks of the 3 powerhouses, Fei Huang's expression was extremely calm, even indifferent and faintly disdainful. She stood in the air, her long dress fluttering in the wind. A wisp of demonic light appeared on her body, and her temperament was extremely special. Her hands pushed outwards, and immediately several snow-white jade hands formed. They were incomparably huge, and they covered heaven and earth. Lu Ming raised his head and seemed to see a few jade-like hands between heaven and earth. Several jade-like hands pressed out. The sea of blood collapsed, and the bizarre creatures within it let out miserable shrieks. One by one they exploded, transforming into dust that dissipated in the air. Following that, the blood-kindred powerhouse also let out a mournful cry, filled with despair. Touch her jade-like hand swept through the sea of blood as easily as crushing dry weeds. The blood tribe powerful being's body exploded like a balloon. His strand of true self-origin wrapped in a ball of blood-red light wanted to escape, but it was useless. With a press of her jade hand, everything turned to ashes. The strand of true self-origin of the blood-kindred powerhouse also completely disappeared, and he died. Another terrifying powerhouse was killed. This time it only took 1 move. Shocking. Just now, Fei Huang had attacked with a total of several jade-like hands. Clearly there was a difference in power. The jade-like hand that attacked the blood-kindred powerhouse was the strongest and contained the strongest offensive power. As for the other hand that attacked the angel powerhouse, the Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace's jade-like hand, it was only used to block their attacks. At this moment, the angel powerhouse, the Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace, was truly afraid. His heart was cold and his eyes were filled with fear. Let's go. The Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace shouted in fear and turned to leave. The angel powerhouse also did the same. It was too terrifying. Whether it was the Spirikin powerhouse or the blood-kindred powerhouse, their strength wasn't any weaker than the angel powerhouse. They were just a bit weaker than the Lord of Heaven. But Fei Huang had killed one of them in 1 move. It was truly terrifying. If Fei Huang still had the strength to use 1 more move, they would be finished. The 2 of them erupted with their fastest speed to escape. Sky Devil Domain. Fei Huang's indifferent voice rang out. An invisible fluctuation spread out, enveloping the vast starry sky. The angel powerhouse and the Lord of Heaven of the Lord of Heaven's extremely fast speed suddenly slowed down. It was as if they were stuck in a quagmire. They were as slow as snails. Not good. The expressions of the Yale Lord of Heaven and the angel powerhouse wildly changed. In the next moment, Fei Huang's figure appeared in front of the angel powerhouse. No! The angel powerhouse roared in fear. His 12 wings emitted a dazzling light and transformed into 12 sharp blades that wildly slashed at Fei Huang. Die. Fei Huang spoke. Her voice was indifferent, as if she was passing judgment. Her body emitted a devilish light, and the light on her palm became even denser. She slapped out with her palm. Under this palm, everything was annihilated. The Angel Powerhouse's attack was instantly annihilated. The same was true for his body. He was even more miserable. He didn't even have the chance to scream before directly disappearing from the great desolate universe. It was as if he had never appeared. Even a trace of his mark had been erased. This ability, Lu Ming's eyes widened. He discovered that the energy Fei Huang had used was very similar to the energy Xian Yanqing had used in the past. Both were able to envelop a space and restrict the enemy's movements. The difference was that Fei Huang's range was too wide. Even the vast starry sky was enveloped. The range was who knew how many times larger than Xian Yanqing's. Damn it! Explode. The Yale Lord of Heaven almost pissed himself in fright. He did his best to activate the Heaven Sentinel Sword. The Heaven Sentinel Sword shook violently, releasing a terrifying sword intent that tore through the starry sky, increasing his speed. However, Fei Huang didn't stop after killing the Angel Powerhouse. Her figure flickered, and she once more appeared beside the Yale Lord of Heaven. She slammed her palm down. The Yale Lord of Heaven roared. Sensing the threat of death, he suddenly turned and slashed out with his sword. Clang. Fei Huang's palm collided with the Sky Sentinel Sword, and an earth-shattering roar erupted. Terrifying energy surged out in all directions like water waves. Buzz. The Heaven Sentinel Sword shook violently. As for the Yale Lord of Heaven, his body shook even more violently. He coughed up blood. The bones in his sword-wielding hand were directly shattered. He retreated, blood constantly spurting out of his body. Many cracks appeared on the surface of his body. It was like porcelain was about to shatter. Interesting. You can take one of my moves without dying. Let's see how many of them you can take. Fei Huang's indifferent voice rang out. She once more sent out a palm. The Yale Lord of Heaven crazily roared. His body's energy began to blaze. All his power and potential were ignited. Chapter 3693. Yale Lord of Heaven began to go all out, burning everything. Including his potential, even his soul, body, origin, blood, and so on. Everything was ignited, causing his power to rise to the extreme. Clang. The two of them exchanged another blow. This time the result was no different from the last time. Fei Huang remained motionless while Yale Lord of Heaven retreated. His body kept emitting explosive sounds, his muscles and bones were constantly exploding. His body was tattered and all his bones had been shattered. He had suffered an unimaginable injury. Even if Yale Lord of Heaven could escape now, it would be a huge loss. His potential would be exhausted, and there would be no possibility for him to improve in the future. His cultivation might even regress. But now he couldn't care about this at all. He just wanted to escape. This time he had miscalculated. He didn't expect that a wisp of Fei Huang's soul would be on the Dragon Clan's mother planet. If he had known, he would never have come. But it was too late now. Because Fei Huang's third attack had already been launched. The jade-like hand with demonic light was huge and boundless, pressing down on Yale Lord of Heaven. Yale Lord of Heaven could only barely erupt with power and activate the Sword of Heaven survey to resist. But this time he could no longer block it. With a bang his body exploded. Only a wisp of his true self was left. He rushed into the Sword of Heaven survey in a panic and activated the Sword of Heaven survey, wanting to escape. But the jade-like hand swept across the air. How could he escape? No, save me. Yale Lord of Heaven roared crazily, almost scared out of his wits. However, just as Yale Lord of Heaven's voice fell, the starry sky in the distance suddenly cracked open. From the spatial crack, a big hand stretched out. The big hand was crystal clear, completely composed of snow-white holy light, and grabbed at Fei Huang. Its speed seemed slow, but it was actually very fast. It arrived in an instant and bombarded the jade-like hand formed by Fei Huang. Boom. A terrifying explosion sounded. This time, cracks appeared on the jade-like hand formed by Fei Huang, and then it exploded. Fei Huang's face changed slightly and she retreated. Old man. Fei Huang's expression was somewhat ugly. After that large hand repelled Fei Huang, it did not give chase. Instead, it grabbed the heaven surveying sword and quickly pulled it back. Don't even think about leaving. Fei Huang shouted coldly. She stepped into the starry sky, chasing after him. The devilish light on her body grew even brighter as she blasted out another palm strike. It was still a jade-like hand, but this time the jade-like hand was much dimmer, and contained an astonishing demonic light. Boom! Holy light boiled in this cracked space. Then, another big hand reached out and collided with the jade hand formed by Fei Huang. Fei Huang's jade hand exploded again. Fei Huang, you're just a soul clone, you can't stop me. A voice rang out, causing the starry sky to tremble endlessly. In the distant starry sky, many planets were shaking. Just his voice alone was already terrifyingly powerful. At the same time, the huge hand that was carrying Yale, the Lord of Heaven, Sword of Heaven, rapidly retreated. Old man, you can't even take care of yourself, yet you dare to stop me? Be careful of being annihilated. Fei Huang said coldly. You don't need to worry about that. That voice rang out once more. In the next moment, it retreated back into the crack in space and disappeared. This, Lu Ming, Ao Yen and the others stared blankly at the starry sky. Just now, it was clear that an even stronger existence from the heavenly palace had made a move. An existence even stronger than the Lord of Heaven had saved Yale, the Lord of Heaven, from an unknown distance away. Now everyone was watching. If Yale, the Lord of Heaven, died here, it would be a huge loss to the heavenly palace's prestige. However, the other side seemed to have some misgivings. They only left Yale, the Lord of Heaven, and did not continue to attack. Just like that, a world-shaking battle came to an end. Lu Ming, Ao Yen and the others' hearts swayed as they watched. They were indescribably excited. Although they could be considered pretty good amongst the younger generation compared to the Lord of Heaven and the others, they were still a far cry. There was no need to even mention Fei Huang or that mysterious person from the heavenly palace. They still had a long way to go. Fei Huang looked at the starry sky, her eyes flickering. She took a step back and returned to the dragon race's home planet. The 10,000 dragon seals didn't stop her at all. Fei Huang came to Ao Qian's side. Little fellows, come with us. Ao Qian waved his hand. Lu Ming, Ao Yen and the others felt an energy envelop them. Following that, space rippled and they were pulled by an invisible energy. Their surroundings rapidly changed, and in the next moment, they arrived in an unfamiliar environment. The surroundings were filled with unimaginably dense mist. Junior greets Senior Ao Qian, Senior Fei Huang. Lu Ming, Ao Yen and the others came to Fei Huang, Ao Qian and the others sighed and cupped their fists. No need to be so polite. You're all pretty good. Ao Yen examined Ao Yen and the others and nodded in satisfaction. Right now the dragon race doesn't have much left. You are the hope of the dragon race's revival. Work hard. Ao Qian looked at Ao Yen, Ao Guan and the others. Ao Yen, Ao Guan and the others immediately became excited. In front of this legendary figure of the dragon race, even if their talent was extraordinary, they were still very excited. Ao Qian was only a 5-clawed divine dragon, and his bloodline was the lowest in the divine dragon race. However, he had grown to become the strongest expert of the divine dragon race with the lowest bloodline. He had trampled many 9-clawed dragons beneath his feet. He could be called a legend. Even if their talent was very high, it would be very difficult for them to reach Ao Qian's level in the future. We will definitely work hard to revive the dragon race. Ao Yen, Ao Guan, Ao Qing, and the others nodded, their faces filled with determination. Good. You can cultivate here during this time. The environment here is quite suitable for you. If you encounter any problems in your cultivation, you can come find me. Ao Qian said. Ao Yen and the others were excited. They cupped their fists and bid farewell. Lu Ming, you stay behind. Fei Huang, who had been silent all this time, spoke up. Ao Yen and the others glanced at Lu Ming and then left to find a suitable place to cultivate. After Ao Yen and the others left, only Lu Ming remained to face Ao Qian and Fei Huang. Fei Huang stared at Lu Ming from head to toe. She looked at Lu Ming from head to toe. Even Lu Ming felt embarrassed. Even with his thick skin, he couldn't help blushing. As expected of the man Xiaoqing has taken a fancy to. You're actually able to merge with the taboo energy. Not bad, not bad. Fei Huang carefully examined him and then nodded in praise. Her eyes were filled with satisfaction. That expression was extremely similar to the expression a mother-in-law would have when looking at her son-in-law. Lu Ming ignored that gaze. His heart jumped and he blurted out, Senior, you know Nianqing? Xian Nianqing's methods were extremely similar to Fei Huang's. So when Fei Huang mentioned Xiaoqing and the man Xiaoqing had taken a fancy to, Lu Ming immediately thought of Xian Nianqing. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.